Well, they've gotten the field in great shape. Obviously, it drains beautifully, so there's no standing water anywhere. So it's been raining all day, and it looks like it's finally stopping. There's a little bit of a mist going on here at the stadium, and we should have baseball. The Yankees against the Red Sox. The umpires out there waiting for the Yankees to take the field, waiting for the managers or one of their representatives to bring out the lineup cards. Now, the Yankees will play this game coming off the euphoria of winning yesterday's game with 2 home runs off of one of the best closers in baseball, Jonathan Papelbon. And the Red Sox play this game after having lost a very, very tough one. If they'd lost 5-0 or 6-1, it's one thing. But taking a 9-7 lead after coming back into the 9th inning, having your closer on the mound and not getting it done, that's another thing. Let's start with you, John. What's the bigger deal? The Red Sox being completely devastated by it, or the Yankees just carrying that kind of euphoria into this game?
Well, we talked about it yesterday. I think these 2 games for the Boston Red Sox a lot more important. They came in here as a 500 club, and you mentioned they battled back down 5-0 early in that ball game, and you get ahead 2 runs with your closer. That is a devastating loss, and one that could set them back. I mean, the Yankees loved that win, but they didn't need it as much as the Red Sox did, so I think they have some work to do tonight.
Now, Kenny, do you
4-2 with a 3.71 coming into this ball game? It'll be his 9th start of the year. Coming off a rough one in Detroit, 6 innings, 6 earned runs, 9 hits in that ball game.
Last 2 starts for CC, 10 and 2/3 innings, 13 hits, 9 earned runs, 4 home runs, 4 walks, and 8 strikeouts. And he also, last time he faced the Red Sox, he was 1 strike away from getting credit for a win. But the rains came, and he's a little sorry that he didn't expedite the process. He was throwing over to first base, and the skies opened up so badly they had to put the tarp on. And the rain delay was for so long that Joe Girardi didn't feel it was prudent for him to come back out. And so the bullpen took over, and CC ended up losing a win. Yankees didn't lose the game, and for them, that was the most important thing. So Sabathia on the mound. Let's take a look at the defense behind him. Joe Girardi will have Randy Winn in left, Brett Gardner in center, and Marcus Timms is over in right field. There's Randy and Gardner and Timms. At third base, Alex Rodriguez. The shortstop, the captain, Derek Jeter. At second base, Robinson Cano. And over at first base, Mark Teixeira. Behind the plate, Francisco Cervelli. As Jorge Posada needs another day, his right foot still barking after a foul tip. And then on the mound is CC Sabathia. As I said, the field looks like it's in great shape, and we are ready to roll here at Yankee Stadium. Marco Scutaro digs in. CC Sabathia is ready, and let's do it here in the Bronx. The big left-hander deals, and there's a strike.
Well, Joe Girardi has been very open about his bullpen, that it is beat up at this point in the year. So you're looking at CC Sabathia tonight to be your #1 guy. Go about 7 innings, get some length if you can. Give that bullpen a night off.
The 0-1, foul back. Now the Yankees concerned about whether or not CC will go long, and they added another pitcher. They sent out Greg Golson, an outfielder, to the minor leagues, and Mark Melanson was recalled from Scranton Wilkes-Barre, so they have some length in the bullpen.
Yeah, I think part of that is the well, the weather picture for the night. If CC has to leave the game early because of weather, you have an extra pitcher in the bullpen.
Soft ground ball is short. Jeter gets Scutaro, 1 away.
CC started twice against Boston this year. No decision in each start. He started on opening night, which seems like a long time ago, April 4th at Fenway Park. No decision for CC. The Red Sox won that game, but he also started May the 8th at Fenway, as Michael talked about it. No decision, but the Yankees won that one 14-3.
Start of the game delayed 59 minutes. Here is Dustin Pedroia. And a strike. Pedroia against Sabathia. It's not too good. 1 for 19 against the Yankees' big left-hander. Foul back.
You know, overall, Pedroia this year is not hitting against left-handers. Certainly not as well as he's hit the right-handers. Only .231 against lefties. All 8 of his home runs have come against right-handed pitching. And he leads the Red Sox in homers with the 8.
The 0-2. Low 1-2.
Well, Kenny, you mentioned his 8 home runs, and CC Sabathia has been giving up some home runs lately. Last 5 starts has given up at least 1 home run in each of those ball games.
Give up back-to-back homers in Detroit. Miguel Cabrera going against the traffic to the opposite field, and then young Brennan Bosch, who Michael and I agree are going to be he's going to be in the big leagues a long time. He continues to hit this way. He's not going back to the minors. In fact, he hit so well that they're going to put Carlos Guillen at second base. Speaking of the Detroit Tigers.
1-2. Well, Scott Sizemore struggling there defensively and not hitting as much as they thought, so Guillen will move in at second.
Sizemore sent back to the minors.
And the 2-2. Fouled away. Talked to Terry Francona, the Red Sox manager, before the game today, and he said, hey, we've got to play better. And I'm not going to say I'm not concerned. I am concerned. We have to play better baseball. He said, you can't use injuries as an excuse. A lot of teams have injuries. He said, we're not playing good baseball. He said, we have to tighten things up and make sure that we don't fall that far behind. We know those are good teams in front of us. I asked him, I said, well, you worried that there are 2 teams that you're going to have to beat out and that the wild card is not a landing spot? And he very frankly said, how about 3? There's 3 teams in front of us. The Blue Jays are in 3rd place.
And the Blue Jays won this afternoon, and so did the Tampa Bay Rays, both of them victorious.
Tampa Bay's coming in tomorrow. Started 2-game set, 2 night games here at the stadium. The 2-2. Fouled away.
This is the type of at bat that Pedroia had last night when he had a 10-pitch at bat in the 5th inning, just in front of J.D. Drew's 3-run homer. And you wonder how much that wore out Phil Hughes. All of a sudden, he's got to catch his breath. Drew comes up and hits a cutter into the right field seats.
Wind is whipping in from the outfield. We had 7 home runs in the game yesterday. I'm not sure that's going to be accomplished today. You're going to have to really hit one hard. Swing and a miss. Pedroia down on strikes.
Well, you always pay attention early in the ball game, velocity of a starting pitcher, and CC's not cranked it up yet. 91, but down in the zone, an 8-pitch at bat, and CC Sabathia wins the battle. We talked about the wind, Michael. This will be a tough night for the pitchers to get loose, kind of get into that good rhythm. Dustin Pedroia not happy with that effort.
Yeah, they always ask CC about pitching in the cold weather. He says, well, I pitch for Cleveland. Right next to that lake.
There's J.D. Drew. There's a base hit up the middle. Drew is really on fire. 32 for his last 88. And that's why he's moved to the number 3 spot in the lineup.
Yeah, he's also hit now in 10 of his last 11 games. That pitch is kind of right down the middle, and as hot as he is, as Michael told you, he's not going to miss it. Nice, easy, compact swing. Almost picks off the second base umpire, Larry Vanover, but into center field for a base hit.
There's Kevin Youkilis. Youkilis a .311 average with 6 home runs and 19 runs batted in. Had a home run in the 8th inning yesterday, a 2-run shot.
For Youkilis, this is the one to put the Red Sox out in front. And that was his 99th career home run.
The 1-0. Low 2-0. Kind of cold, damp weather, John. Does it take a pitch away? A certain pitch, maybe a field pitch?
The field pitch would be definitely the changeup or the slider for CC. And you can see the velocity is down early on. Kind of hasn't gotten into his good rhythm yet.
And now he's 3-0 to Youkilis.
I think the most important thing, Michael, though, you know, he went out and he was on his regular routine with his long toss and his bullpen session. That's what you worry about in these games with the rain delays and if it's going to start or stop. Once you start the game, you just want to keep going.
And he ends up walking Youkilis on 4 pitches. Angel Campos is behind the plate. 53 degrees here at the stadium, high humidity because it's been raining. 18-mile-an-hour winds out of the northeast, and the forecast is for showers. Here's Victor Martinez. Victor Martinez with home runs in the 6th and the 8th inning, 1 right-handed, 1 left-handed last night. And before those home runs, he was 0 for his last 19. So overall, he's at 234, 5 homers and 19 runs batted in.
Martinez usually does not catch Josh Beckett. Terry Francona getting him back in there after you mentioned the 2 home runs last night, trying to keep his bat hot, get him on a roll.
I think one reason why he wanted to keep David Ortiz in the lineup because Ortiz is starting to swing the bat. So Ortiz in there as the DH, which forces Martinez into the lineup as the catcher. Ortiz is on deck. This is Martinez's strong side. He's hitting .405 as a right-handed hitter. On the other side of the plate, not nearly as well.
Francona talking about playing Martinez and Ortiz today, said the last thing I want to do is keep somebody from getting hot.
So he was speaking about Ortiz.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he could have been speaking about Martinez too. The 1-1. Squibbed the other way. Martinez 4 hits and 16 at bats against CC with 1 home run. Remember, he was CC's battery mate with the Indians, so he knows him quite well.
The 2 home runs last night for Victor Martinez from the right side. Home run number 4. Kenny mentioned he's been swinging much better from that side. And he follows up from the left side. Home run number 5, and no doubt about this one. That is a bomb over the Yankee bullpen.
One ball, 2 strikes. Runners on first and second, just underway here at the stadium. And that is 1 hopped out toward Cano. So Sabathia works a scoreless first inning. No runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. Red Sox nothing, and the New York Yankees coming to bat.
Paper jam.
I'm going in.
Troubleshooting runs on Dunkin'? America runs on Dunkin'. With our new Ice Dark Roast Coffee. It's a bolder blend of America's favorite coffee on ice. Grab a delicious cup today. America runs on Dunkin'. Hurry in today and try the new Ice Dunkin' Dark Roast.
Open yourself up to a whole new driving experience. Introducing a Mercedes-Benz convertible that controls the...
Red Sox don't score in the top of the first inning, as you can see on the Mazda scoreboard. Zoom, zoom. And we zoom to the bottom of the first inning. Let's take a look at the Yankees starting lineup. Yankees are 25-13. And they're going to lead off their captain and their shortstop, Derek Jeter. Batting second and playing center field, Brett Gardner. Mark Teixeira at first base will hit third. Alex Rodriguez cleans up and plays third. Robinson Cano at second base will bat fifth. Batting sixth and catching, Francisco Cervelli. Marcus Timms, one of the heroes of last night's game. He'll be in right field batting seventh. Batting eighth and DHing Juan Miranda. And Randy Wynn is in left field. He's going to bat ninth.
Yankee lineup going to go to work against Josh Beckett, the #1 starter for the Boston Red Sox. Off to a tough start, 1-1 with a 7.46 ERA. It'll be his 8th start of the year. He's given up 52 hits in 41 innings. And he's looking to get it back up on track tonight. Missed his last start with back spasms. You wonder how that's going to be affected with the cold wind here tonight in New York.
Well, here's Derek Jeter. Derek comes in hitting .268 with 4 home runs and 23 runs batted in. 5 hits in his last 19 at bats. And Beckett deals. Grounded to short. Scutaro. Let's take a look at the numbers on Josh Beckett. He's 1-1 with a 7.46, 52 hits in 41 innings, 16 walks, 34 strikeouts, and look at the batting average, .311 against.
Let's take a look at the Boston Red Sox pitcher scatter report, brought to you by Panasonic Viera. With 3D this lifelike, we can still call it a TV. Can we still call it a TV? Back at it. I mentioned the back spasms, and what happened his last start against the Yankees, 9 runs and kind of fell apart in that outing. But he's still the leader of this staff, the #1 starter.
John, what do you think happened last night? Because it almost seemed like he had a meltdown.
I'll tell you what, the first 3 innings of that ball game, it looked like Josh Beckett might throw a no-hitter. He had such great stuff, location, was totally dominant. And then Nick Swisher got a hanging curveball, and it all fell apart. I think the Yankees deserve a little bit of credit because they wore him down, fouled off some tough pitches. And Josh Beckett, I don't know if he lost his concentration or his focus, or he was just mentally beat down by the Yankee lineup.
The 0-2. And you know, when you talk about the 9th inning for the Yankees yesterday, everybody's going to talk about Alex Rodriguez, the 2-run home run that tied the game, and then Marcus Timms, the 2-run home run that won the game. But Brett Gardner started it with a tough at bat against Papelbon. He's now 4 for 4 lifetime against Papelbon, and he sliced a double into left field. That started the whole inning, and just became a snowball effect against Papelbon.
He's also faced him 6 times. The other 2 times he walked, so he's been on base 6 consecutive times against the Red Sox closer. And right now what you're seeing is Brett Gardner spoiling pitch after pitch. Even if he makes an out in this at bat, he's running up the pitch count.
41 hits, 16 to left, 8 to center, and 8 to right, and then 6 infield, 1 to the left side, and 3 to the right side. And as you can see, his swing is to take the ball the other way, either to chop it that way through the infield or even hit a line drive, slap a line drive.
Well, it's interesting with all those hits going the other way. The Red Sox and Beckett still pitching him away. It's kind of like Derek Jeter. When you pitch him inside, he stays inside, hits it the other way. Brett Gardner, the same thing. When pitchers pitch him in, he fights it off the other way.
And the count now 2-2.
I don't know a whole lot about home plate umpire Angel Campos, but I'll tell you what, early on in this first inning, he looks like a hitter's umpire. CC Sabathia threw a couple questionable pitches. Josh Beckett threw a fastball pretty much middle of the plate down and did not get the call.
The 2-2. Fouled away.
Putting on a lengthy at bat, and how frustrating can it be for, forget the pitcher. How frustrating is it for a catcher? This guy's fouling off pitch after pitch. It's almost the same thing you saw from Johnny Damon for years here.
Yeah, you really got to be disciplined on your scouting report and your game plan, and it looks like Martinez and Beckett want to pitch Gardner away. Now they're going to take a shot inside.
Now Gardner sees a team best 4.55 pitches per plate appearance.
Give him credit here. He was down 0-2, and now the count is 3 balls and 2 strikes.
And the payoff. Again, he spoils it. These kind of at-bats do affect a pitcher. There's going to be a 10-pitch at-bat if he puts the next one in play or gets walked. Because we saw it last night when Dustin Pedroia did it to Phil Hughes. And the next batter, J.D. Drew, hit that big 3-run home run. I think it just wears you down mentally and a little bit physically. Here's the payoff. And that's grounded to first. Youkilis will beat Gardner to the bag. And there's one away. Now you heard two away. Now you heard me give you the line. Now let's take a look at it. New York Yankees starting lineup brought to you by Blimpie, America's Sub Shop. Jeter, Gardner, and Teixeira at the top of the order. In the middle third, it's Alex Rodriguez, Robinson Cano, and Francisco Cervelli. The bottom third of the order, Marcus Thames in right, Juan Miranda the DH. Randy Wynn is in left. Here's Mark Teixeira. And there's a strike.
Teixeira's had himself a good homestand, 7 for 16. Average is climbing.
Count 0-2. Beckett has allowed 5 or more runs in 4 of his 7 starts this year. He did it 7 times all of last year. And the 0-2. Strike 3 right down the middle, and Teixeira down looking. So the Yankees go down in order. 1-2-3 against Beckett. We played 1 here at the stadium. Yankees and the Red Sox are 0-0. Yankees baseball on My 9 is brought to you in part by your local Lexus dealers. Chase, now with over 15,000 ATMs nationwide. Chase what matters. And by Honda. Look for money-saving leases and low financing at your Honda dealer. Wind is whipping in. It's a cold, raw night here at Yankee Stadium. As we go to the second inning, and David Ortiz against CC Sabathia. The Mazda scoreboard, no score as we head to the second. And the pitch outside, 1-0. Sabathia allowed a single to Drew and a walk to Youkilis in the first inning, but they were both stranded. Ortiz 7 hits in his last 17 at bats. Francona said the thing that Ortiz is going to have to do, he said he's swinging the bat a lot better. I think he's back to where he needs to be. He's got to ignore what the scoreboard says in terms of his batting average. He said it is what it is, and he had to deal with that last year. It's 235 right now, and he doesn't think he's a 235 hitter. And now that number just went a little bit higher as Ortiz serves one into left field. Let's take a look at the Red Sox starting lineup again, brought to you by Mitsubishi. Test drive one today at the Dare to Compare sales event. Scudero, the shortstop, Dustin Pedroia, the second baseman, J.D. Drews in right. Middle third of the order, Kevin Youkilis, Victor Martinez, and David Ortiz. And the bottom third of the order, Adrian Beltre at third, Bill Hall in left, and Darnell McDonald will play center, and he'll bat ninth. Heavy mist blowing sideways here at the stadium as Adrian Beltre digs in, and the pitch outside.
Yeah, Michael, you mentioned Terry Francona speaking of his DH, David Ortiz. And I have to agree with him, because at this stage of the season, you're 1 week away, one real hot week or a week and a half or 2 weeks of getting your average up to 300. It doesn't take that much this time of season.
1-1.
Well, if you're David Ortiz, just keep concentrating on what has gotten you to this point, and he's just gotten ready a little bit earlier, Kenny, to hit. You know, instead of being late on the fastball, it looks like when he's getting ready to hit, he's getting everything down a little bit quicker, a little bit earlier, and the results are there.
The thing that upsets Ortiz, and he was quoted as saying this, he said, "I'm 34 years old and people act as if I'm 80. He said, just because it's a slump doesn't mean you're done.
And that's a fine line. Remember Mike Mussina, when he was, velocity went down. Is it mechanical? Is it his arm strength is gone? Same thing for a pitcher or a hitter. You have to be careful. But when they're throwing fastballs right by you and attacking you right down the middle, that's when people start saying you're done.
No. Yeah, well, it's all about adjustments, both pitching and hitting. It gets to a point where your talent starts to diminish a bit and your experience takes over a little bit more. And maybe Ortiz has gotten to that point.
Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Beltre down on strikes, and he's saying, well, why don't you check the umpire? How are you making that call? You should be checking the ump. And that's a pet peeve of our colleague Paul O'Neill. He said there's no way an umpire could be looking at where the pitch is and know whether or not you swung.
Usually it's Beltre who points and makes the appeal himself. We've seen that in the past from him. But we get a bird's eye view of this one. Yeah, he went too far. Yeah, he definitely went too far. That was strike 3. He wanted Angel Campos to appeal to the first base umpire Jeff Nelson. Appeal denied.
Bill Hall fouls it back. You buy that, John? You were behind the plate all those years that an umpire can't see both.
Oh, I definitely buy it, because I know being a catcher back there, I mean, you're concentrating on pitch and receiving it, and you have an idea if a hitter went too far, but there's no way you can see it that quickly.
I really felt that way when I was hitting.
The 0-1. 1-1.
Bill Hall has played several positions for the Red Sox. He's appeared in left field, all 3 outfield positions, shortstop and second base.
Along with Ken Singleton and John Flaherty and Kimberly Jones, I'm Michael Kay, and you're watching Yankees baseball here on My 9. Perfect night to watch baseball. Well, where are you going to go in weather like this? You sit home, you're nice and comfortable, and you sit back and watch the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Might even put a few logs on the fireplace.
Absolutely. Perfect night for that. The 1-2. 2-2.
And it feels like early April.
Or early October. Just missed. And you can see Campos is going to call that 17-inch strike zone. Not 18, 17.
You see Francisco Cervelli setting up away. Looks like he's just off the plate.
Popped up. Coming on is Timms. And it's going to be tough fly balls with all the rain and the wind. So now there are 2 outs.
Hey, let's take a look at our New York Yankees pitcher scouting report, brought to you by your tri-state area Volkswagen dealers. Visit tristatevw.com. Stretch it out, looking for a little length tonight. Hopefully 7 innings if you're a Yankee fan, and 7 and counting. CC has won his last 7 regular season home decisions here at the new stadium, trying to limit the damage. We talked about 5 home runs and his last 5 games, giving up home runs in each of those games. So trying to keep the ball in the ballpark tonight. Looks like the wind might help in that category.
Here's Darnell McDonald, and there's the strike.
Yeah, you saw the reaction of Timms on that fly ball. As it started to come down, it looked like the wind was bringing it closer to the infield. He had to scramble to make the last few feet before getting underneath it. This will be a tough night for the infielders and the outfielders.
And one of those nights you don't give up on a pop-up too early.
Now the flag's out in left center. I mean, they're whipping, but they don't really seem like they're starched. You look at the ones over the stadium, and they are ripping toward home plate. Straight out. So once that ball if it gets above the grandstand, it's really going to be affected. Or close. That one is driven out to left field. Wynn is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the second. No runs are hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the second. Nothing.
It's got Mercury.
From the town of My 9 has your ticket. It's a battle for the AL East as Tampa Bay shows they're in it to win it. Then Saturday night, the Subway Series is on. It's Jeter versus David Wright to prove who's the real king of Queens. On our sister station, Fox 5. Yankees Rays Thursday at 7 on My 9. Yankees Mets Saturday at 7 on Fox 5. Here's Alex Rodriguez to lead off the second inning against Beckett.
Well, let's go back to the bottom of the ninth. Yankees down by a run, but not for long. When this ball lands, a 2-run homer makes it a 9-9 ball game. The Yankees were not finished.
Now, one of the neatest parts of the celebration at the Tim's home run is if you watch Alex Rodriguez, he's like a little kid hunting an Easter egg. He has to get that helmet. And that started last year. It's almost like catching the bouquet at a wedding. And Alex finally did hunt it down, and he was the one who came out of the scrum with it. And he also comes out of that with a base hit.
You know, it's getting to the point where if you get the helmet, it's like good luck for you in the future. You might get the next walk-off hit.
Watch Alex right here. Everybody wants to celebrate. He's looking for the helmet. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. I got it. So now he could say, look, I got the helmet, and the next time up, I got a single. 0-0, bottom of the second. Yankees and the Red Sox. Final game of this mini 2-game set.
Cano has cooled off a bit. His average still 9th in the American League at 322, but he's 4 for his last 26. And I don't know, I've been watching him, and it looks like his swing has gotten a little bit long lately, and he's not quite as crisp to the ball.
Well, the perfect tonic might be Josh Beckett, a 347 lifetime hitter against Beckett. 17 hits, 3 of them home runs for Cano.
A lot of those hits, too, and some of the home runs have been on that curveball. We'll see if Josh Beckett eliminates it tonight. It seems to fall right in that happy zone for Robinson Cano, down and in.
Tonight's closed captioning is brought to you by your local Lexus dealer.
We were talking about how tonight might be difficult for those touch and field pitches with the wind blowing and a little chilly here. And sometimes that will eliminate certain pitches from the pitcher. He might go more to his hard stuff rather than the breaking stuff and the changeups.
And the count 3-0.
It's like a little split grip here. Takes a little off the fastball. It's going to have some movement down in the zone. A little respect for Robinson Cano and those numbers you mentioned there, Michael. A little 2-0 split finger down.
Let's see if Joe Girardi gives Cano the green light. Checks his swing. Not sure if he had it or not. 3-1.
Yeah, when you can get the green light 3-0, that doesn't mean you have to swing. Usually you're looking for the ball to be almost placed on a tee, exactly where you want it, right down the middle. And then you'll go for it.
Kenny, you mentioned the swing maybe getting a little long for Robinson Cano. Even on a 3-0 pitch right there, the take wasn't great. You know, it was kind of out in front a little bit. I think maybe the stride a little bit too long. See how he does 3-1.
Grounded to short. Scudero boots it, and everybody is safe. That'll be an E6. It should have been 2 outs. Take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard as this inning moves along. It's brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. A lot of afternoon games, and now they want to check to see if Cano is okay. Stevie Donahue and Joe Girardi out. Tampa, you can see, beat Cleveland 6-2. Top of the 7th, Kansas City 3-1 over Baltimore. Angels and the Rangers, bottom of the 2nd, no score. Starting later on, Seattle at Oakland. Cincinnati beat Milwaukee 5-4. That's a final. 8-0 Florida over Arizona. Hanley Ramirez not in the starting lineup. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. 2-1 Pirates lead. Mets and the Braves are tied at 2, top of the 6th. So it looks like Cano is okay, but Scudero has been charged with an E6, and that brings up Cervelli. 6 for his last 6 with runners in scoring position. 11 for 14 this year in those situations, and that's what he's in right now.
I don't know if it looked like Scudero was looking to see where Alex Rodriguez was before he actually caught the ball. You know, maybe trying to take this himself. It looked like he was in a hurry to get to the second base bag, and instead he didn't wait for the ball, and everybody's safe.
I'll tell you what, Josh Beckett not happy with Francisco Cervelli stepping out of the box. Kind of looked in there with his arms wide open, like, what are you doing? And see where this goes.
Now, yesterday, Cervelli got hit right before Tim's home run. And I spoke to Francisco today. He said, absolutely, I was not hit on purpose. He said, why would he hit me with the game tied in the bottom of the ninth inning? He said, I think the ball just got away. And immediately after I got hit, Victor Martinez jumped up and said, no. We're sorry. That wasn't on purpose.
You mean he's going to jump up and say, hey, we wanted to hit you?
Well, if it was on purpose, though, a catcher would just walk out in front of home plate and wouldn't say anything. See the numbers with runners in scoring position. Wow. And hitting 6th in the lineup coming out of spring training. If you told me Francisco Cervelli would be hitting 6th.
Dribbled slowly toward third. That's going to move up the runners. They get Cervelli at first.
Yeah, Francisco Cervelli jawing back a little bit at Beckett. Not backing down.
I like that.
Well, fire and intensity is never going to be his problem.
Here's Marcus Timms. Nice moment for him with the walk-off yesterday. 2 walk-off home runs in his career. 365.
First pitch that he sees. With Cervelli aboard, launched. Papelbon. A blown save and a loss last night.
Well, the Yankees really took advantage of Papelbon, who did not have his best fastball in last night's ball game. They made him pay.
You know, Papelbon, the way he acts on the mound sometimes grates on the opponent's nerves. But I got to tell you, I like the way he reacted at the end of the game. Didn't go through any of these histrionics, throwing things, and he blew the game, went down the dugout steps, picked up his glove, and walked in, and was a man about it. That's how you do it as a closer. You can't get that angry because you're going to be out there the next night.
We look forward to the next opportunity.
Count 3-0. Here's what he said after the game. It's just as frustrating as any other blown save. Anytime you go out there and don't do the job, it's obviously frustrating. They were just flat fastballs that weren't rotating. They were poorly executed pitches on my behalf. He took the blame. No excuses. No crying. And he moves on. Same way that Mariano handled blowing the save on Sunday. And Timms walks on 4 pitches, and that's going to bring up Juan Miranda. New York Yankees baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. SAP is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota's national sales event is going on now.
You think he was careful with him, Flash? It looked to be with a base open. Not a strike in any one of those pitches.
Well, you mentioned first pitch fastball from Papelbon last night, and Timms drilled it, so he got a couple of curveballs, first 2 pitches of the at-bat, and then I agree, did not want any part of him. Where Martinez sets up, not even close.
You know what, and Timms has decent numbers against Beckett, 3 for 8 with a home run.
Here's Miranda, 1 for 8 so far this year since being called up from AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre. He's the DH tonight, batting 8th. Bases loaded. Grounded through for a base hit. Scoring is Rodriguez. They're going to hold Cano up. Drew gets the ball in. So an RBI single by Juan Miranda, and the Yankees are on the board. They lead 1-0.
I was just thinking, Josh Beckett, a #1 type guy, you can pitch yourself out of some bases loaded jams, but Miranda gets a sinker right over the top, right in between first and second. A little surprised Robinson Cano didn't score. Maybe he tweaked something going down first base. We'll see him coming around third. Looks like he's running pretty well. Rob Thompson, the third base coach, decides to hold him up.
Drew's got a pretty strong arm in right field, and with one out, you give Randy Wynn a chance to drive in a run.
I always look out at Beckett and say, you know what, he's a #1 guy. You almost remember what he's done in the past, and this year he's really had some struggles. The number 8 hitter in the lineup takes advantage. Base hit, RBI.
So the number 9 hitter, Randy Wynn, Yankee left fielder, 3 for his last 12. And the pitch is low, 1-0. Last 14 games, he's picking it up as he sees more regular playing time. 270, a home run, and 6 runs batted in. So he has all 6 of his ribbies since April 27th. I think Randy was finding it difficult after being a regular player his whole career, getting an occasional pinch hit appearance. So now he's in the lineup every day with the injury to Swisher and to Granderson. Granderson's on the DL, Swisher is not. That one's in the dirt, and the count 2-0.
I mentioned early on, CC Sabathia doesn't look like he has as good velocity. Same thing for Josh Beckett. We're used to seeing him in the mid-90s, pitching around 90, 91 so far in this ball game. You got to believe the weather has something to do with that.
I wonder also if the different routine with the game being pushed back a little bit.
Missed his last start with back spasms.
Grounded towards second. Bobbled there by Pedroia. They only get one. Scoring is Cano as the other runners move up, and the Yankees lead 2-0.
Pitching and defense, that was the new philosophy of the Boston Red Sox this year. In this inning, we've seen Scudero make an error, and then Randy Wynn rolls over a 2-seamer. Randy runs well. You don't know if they would have turned to double play, but Pedroia right off the heel, right off the thumb, keeps it in front and gets Randy Wynn.
The Red Sox have actually made more errors than their opponents this season.
And that's not the way they drew it up during the winter. And this inning has gotten to this point because of the botched double play on the Cano ground ball by Marco Scudero. That would have been 2 quick outs.
Remember what Terry Francona said. Told you today, Michael, we haven't been playing good baseball. And the error kind of opened the door in this inning.
Sabathia trying to stay warm, but he'll take the runs and the pitch. Breaking ball is a strike to Jeter. (17 for 58 against Beckett, 293 average. Count 1-1. Jeter is 8 for 19 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. That's a .421 average. He's got 2 runners in scoring position right now. At third is Timms. Miranda's at second.
Those are the morale boosting run batted ins with 2 outs. When you're driving a run with 2 outs, really gives your team a boost.
And the back-breaking ones on the other end. And now Martinez wants to get it right with Beckett.
It becomes a huge at bat in this ball game after the way the Red Sox lost last night. You wonder if the Yankees jump out here early on. Will they kind of hang their heads a little bit? 2-0, you're still in the ball game. 4-0 with a big 2-out hit. Definitely changes the tone of this game.
And with Sabathia on the mound. One and 2.
Definitely something to pay attention in this ball game. Victor Martinez catching Josh Beckett. It doesn't happen all the time. Jason Varitek, the veteran and the captain. The numbers are not exactly pretty with Martinez back there. 7.71, 36 hits in 21 innings. Huge difference with Varitek back there. Obviously, he's been here a long time with Josh Beckett.
Yeah, but you can see 36 hits in 21 innings.
The 1-2. Missed outside, 2-2.
Now, Flash is a catcher. I'm noticing Victor Martinez, when he wants a ball over the outside corner, whether it's a left-hand or right-handed, he puts his whole body out there. And if you're hitting, even if you're not trying to peek, you might be able to catch a glimpse of him in peripheral vision.
Yeah, out of the side of your eye. But the Martinez is moving more than you usually see a major league catcher, especially with 2 strikes. He's getting way outside or inside. Not so drastic there.
Jeter's worked the count full, 3-2.
And you wonder, that could be instructions from the coaching staff saying, hey, listen, we want Josh to get the ball really outside. He's having trouble running over the plate. Brett Gardner on deck. Big 3-2 pitch early in this game.
Start of the game delayed 59 minutes by rain. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Yankees up 2-0. Second and third with 2 outs and a 3-2 count on the leadoff hitter, the captain, Derek Jeter. And the 3-2. John, why the touching of the chest protector? I mean, can't the guy at second pick up that sign too?
I'm sure he can, but the problem with the chest protector signs and touching the shin guards, you don't really know. It's not like a set pattern, like 1's fastball, 2's curve, 3's slider, and a wiggle's a changeup. Like if I'm looking at Victor Martinez and he touches his right shoulder, I have no idea what that means.
Could be nothing at all.
Yeah.
Three-2. Swung and missed. Pitch upstairs and Jeter swings through. But the Yankees get 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 error, 2 men left. We go to the third, 2-0 Yanks.
The 3 series example.
Well, now's your chance to tag on Russ, brought to you by Toyota. Besides Babe Ruth, who was the best player to play for both the Yankees and the Red Sox? Here are your choices. Number 1, Wade Boggs. Number 2, Roger Clemens. Number 3, Johnny Damon. Number 4, Elston Howard. And number 5, Sparky Lyle. Text 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 to 71938 or go to my9tv.com. Take on Russ, brought to you by Toyota, right after the game. Now, I got to tell you right off the bat, I'm offended that John Flaherty was not part of that list.
I must have been number 6.
Maybe you are. Maybe there's just room for 5 votes, but that's wrong. That's just wrong. I'm writing you in right now. I'm going to text. Now I hear, John, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's actually a brand new Flaherty in the world.
There is a big addition yesterday. Gia Marilyn Flaherty.
Congratulations.
My younger brother Keith and his beautiful wife Alexis welcoming their first edition. Met her yesterday, beautiful, and she whispered in my ear she's a big Yankee fan already.
Really?
Well, so she is now welcome into the craziness that is known as the Flaherty family.
Little Gia.
Good luck to her.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Keith and Alexis.
Thanksgivings are fun, huh?
You know who's more excited is the young cousins in the family. You know, they get a new cousin, newborn. It'll be a lot of fun.
No, it's Scooter in the leadoff spot for the Red Sox. Now, he did a very good job for the Blue Jays last year in the leadoff spot. But to me, he's no Jacoby Ellsbury. Red Sox really miss Ellsbury.
There's a ground ball single. Scudero starts the third by getting on first. Hey, tomorrow night on the Yes Network, the Yankees host the Tampa Bay Rays in the first of a 2-game set. The coverage is going to start at 6 with batting practice today presented by Audi and the Tri-State Ford pregame. And after the postgame, don't miss an all-new Forbes Sports Money presented by Fox Business Network. It all starts tomorrow at 6, and it's only on Yes.
And to make my point about Scudero, he has led off the last 34 games in the absence of Ellsbury. But when Ellsbury was in the lineup at the beginning of the season, Scudero was batting 9th.
There's a strike to Pedroia. Pedroia struck out in the first inning against Sabathia.
Well, it makes me think, Kenny, if you're the Boston Red Sox, Theo Epstein, their general manager, you wait for Ellsbury to come back.
Which should be pretty soon.
Pretty soon. Cameron sounds like he's right around the corner. Play center field for you. And then how long do you wait to see if this complete team will get back in this thing? Maybe a couple of weeks, a month? before you start making some tough decisions. You look on paper, once those two guys come back, you say, you know what, if this pitching staff can pitch the way we've seen them in the past, might be able to make a run and get back in it.
Well, first of all, the season's only a quarter over, with about 40 games being played. So you've got a long way to go in this baseball season.
The thing that's odd about the way the Red Sox are constructed is their bench, is comprised by two veterans who are used to playing every single day. One guy got traded and failed his physical. That's Mike Lowell. And then Jason Varitek's actually the captain, and he doesn't play. So that's a difficult chore for the manager to keep those guys happy. They're not in the lineup. He was kind of platooning Lowell and Ortiz, but now Ortiz is hitting again. So Lowell's back on the bench.
It's a very good point, because these two players have been used to playing every single day and making their contributions. And now they come to the ballpark. They have to check the lineup to see if they're in there. And how disappointing is it day after day when you're not? And used to come to the ballpark, you probably knew exactly where you're going to hit. Didn't have to check the lineup card.
Pedroia 1 for 20 lifetime against Sabathia. And that one's popped up shallow right. Timms is there. One out.
Well, everything you hear about Jason Varitek, and you mentioned being the captain, I mean, he's been a model citizen so far in this situation. And Mike Lowell, you can't blame him. He feels like he's got something left and hasn't accepted that being a bench player at this point in his career. I think Jason Varitek, everything you hear, his relationship with Victor Martinez is solid. Very concerned about the pitching staff, and when he gets in there, he's been doing a great job.
Yeah, actually, he's made the most of his opportunities. Just appeared in 15 games, hitting .317 with 6 home runs. Got one more home run than Victor Martinez.
I think the thing that's really bothering Lowell the most is that when he re-signed with the Red Sox, he took a significant discount, or gave them a discount, because he wanted to be here, and they wanted him here, and they said, we can't pay you that much. And he was offered a 4-year deal somewhere else. And after the hip surgery last year, they thought he was compromised at third in terms of movement, then went out and signed Beltre. So he's saying, well, wait a minute, I gave you guys a discount, now you're just going to shove me to the side? And that's exactly what's being done.
Well, it's also a perfect ballpark to hit in for his swing. I mean, he's a pull hitter, hits the ball up in the air.
See, but their new way of doing things is pitching and defense.
Beltre has not been great at third.
No, but my point is Beltre maybe a little more range at this point in his career. It doesn't matter how well he's done. He's just, the appearance of him being a better player at third now is there. And that's what the Red Sox are thinking about when they signed Beltre, who's a 2-time Gold Glover, but right now has 7 errors.
One. Grounded to first. Let's see if they turn 2. There's one. Back to first. Not in time. Looked like Teixeira had to put a little bit of an arc in this throw.
Yeah, he threw it over Scudero, and you can see Derek Jeter gets a changeup, and he has trouble getting the grip on the return throw. Mark, instead of stepping towards the grass and firing a throw to second, does a little changeup throw over Scudero. Jeter has trouble getting a good grip, can't turn the double play.
Here's Kevin Youkilis. And there's a strike, along with John Flaherty and Ken Singleton. I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on My 9. We thank you for joining us on this rainy Tuesday evening. Start of the game delayed 59 minutes, but here we are in the top of the third. Yankees lead 2-0. Pitch is high. That sort of night, bundled up against the elements. Line drive and foul. Kept hooking and it landed foul.
Youkilis has been pretty tough on left-handers. Over 400 batting average against left-handed pitchers. And this one, you can see third base umpire Mark Carlson.
Got it wrong.
Ooh.
I think he got it wrong. Youkilis was staring down there. He couldn't believe it. That looked like it hit the line.
Well, Carlson was the closest as anyone in the ballpark. I didn't see any chalk fly up, although on a damp evening it might not.
1-2. 2-2.
CC having trouble getting the ball inside on righties. A couple of times early on, you see the numbers against Sabathia outstanding, 381.
Two. Check swing. Nelson says no. So the count 3-2, and that's going to release Drew at first with 2 outs. He looked like he held up. The wind blowing CC's genie pants. And that ball's low and away, and Youkilis walks.
Youkilis actually leading the league in walks. That's his second one of the night.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
Looking out at CC, I mean, how windy it is and the mist and the wind. You just got to want it out there. You just got to find a way to get it done. You're not going to feel good on a night like this.
Got to be a case of mind over matter.
Yeah.
Just focus on the glove.
Pitch to Victor Martinez is outside. The 1-0. Snap throw to second. Drew just got back.
Cano was a little late getting to the bag, so he had to reach and then make the tag.
Like he got him on the side of the face. Did he get him before the hand hit? So close.
You know, when you're at second, you're trying to get a decent lead. When the pitch is taken, you can see him still reaching out with that right hand. You have to bounce off that right foot, push back towards the bag.
Larry Vanover, the second base ump. There's a strike. He's hurt the Yankees this year. Coming into tonight, 310, 4 home runs, 7 ribbies.
5 home runs for the year, 4 of them against the Yankees. Pitch count very high. It's going to be pitch number 60. Let's see the look of concern. Joe Girardi and Dave Island, the pitching coach.
And there's a strike. Just nipped the outside corner in the count 3-2. Runners will go.
Back-to-back changeups, 3-1 changeup. Could be down. An outstanding catch by Cervelli, bringing it back up a little bit to give Campos a good look.
have to be very subtle with your hands to do that, don't you?
The soft hands.
Yeah, too much movement, the umpire's not going to give you the call.
Three-two. He struck him out. Goes upstairs and gets Martinez to chase what might have been ball four. No runs a hit, no errors, and two men left on base. We go to the bottom of the third. 2-0 Yankees. There are two teams that tackle the toughest crimes to hit New York City. Watch back-to-back episodes of Law & Order, Criminal Intent, every Monday night starting at 8, and Law & Order Special Victims Unit, weeknights at 11:35. It would be a crime to miss them on My 9. We go to the bottom of the third inning, and Brett Gardner will lead off against Josh Beckett. And a strike.
I was talking to Brett before the game in the Yankee clubhouse about if he played football in high school. He said he did, but he said he was about 150 pounds in high school. He said he didn't like to get hit. I said, well, who does? He was a receiver. He eventually became a quarterback, but he knew he wanted to be a baseball player. He was originally from Holly Hill, South Carolina. If that sounds familiar, that's where Willie Randolph originally from.
Willie now a bench coach with the Milwaukee Brewers under manager Ken Maka.
I figure with his speed, you get on the ball, who's going to catch Brett Gardner?
Be a good safety too. Good cover guy.
The 1-2.
Look out.
Ball goes one way, bat the other.
One of those nights where your hands get a little wet and there's not enough pine tar on the bat. You can see him go to the tar there. All right, tighten up that grip. Spoils the pitch. And look out the Yankee dugout.
And the pitch inside. I asked Terry Francona today, would you rather the game be played or would you rather it be rained out because of all the injuries to your team? He said, I really don't mind either way. He said, but I hope there's not a long delay because we have to travel tonight. He said, that's all I ask is that we're not here forever. Strike three. Gardner down looking. This day in Yankee history is brought to you in part by your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. Visit CadillacTristate.com to find a dealer near you. For the third time in his career on this date in 1956, Mickey Mantle hit home runs from both sides of the plate in a win over the White Sox.
They're probably both well over 400 feet.
You know how many times offhand that you did it, Kenny?
Yeah, like 0.
You never hit it from both sides?
Never.
Really?
Never. They wouldn't change pitchers.
The 1-0. Grounded to second. Pedroia. 2 outs.
With the guy batting behind me, did it 11 times, I think.
Eddie Murray.
Yeah. See, they changed pitchers after, I either made it out or got on base.
Tonight's league leaders are brought to you by New York Lottery. Powerball. With Powerball and Mega Millions, now you have 4 days a week to win. Play big, play both. Alex Rodriguez, 31 ribbies, and that's tied for 4th. And he had 4 RBIs last night.
Yeah, A-Rod has now driven in at least 1 run in 13 of his last 18 games, so he's starting to pick up the pace here.
Alex in the 9th inning hit his 588th career home run. 20 of those home runs have tied or put his team ahead in the 9th inning or later.
Oof.
Last year, Alex had a big home run against the Red Sox. 15-inning affair here at the stadium with no score through the first 14 and a half, and then Alex hit one into the visitors' bullpen and sent everybody home, a 2-run home run.
That one last night was really touched off. That's the back of the bullpen in deepest left center field.
Count 1-2. This is what we talked about. Tozawa was on the mound, and Alex Rodriguez sent everybody home after a long night. Big 2-run home run. There goes the helmet, the bouquet. The 1-2.
I think the toughest part of that is running the gauntlet when you get to home plate. First of all, you got to find home plate.
And you always find the umpire somewhere in that scrum because they've got to see your foot hit the plate. One of the more famous walk-off home runs in Yankee history, Chris Chambliss in 1976 hit that home run off Mark Littell in Game 5 of the ALCS. It was best of 5 back then. Never got to home plate because the fans stormed the field, and hours later they took him out of the clubhouse and made him step on what would have been home plate. Somebody had stolen it. As A-Rod walks. But there were still fans on the field, and police officers escorted him out. This is a gauntlet that Timms had to navigate. He looked like he was up for it, though.
I'm looking for an umpire. I don't see an umpire in the middle of that. There he is.
There he is.
Mark Carlson.
Good job, Mark Carlson.
And now he gets third base today. Here's Cano. Reached on an E6 in the second. Would have been a double play ground ball. Right in the hands and foul back.
You know, one of the most famous pictures on a walk-off home run when Bobby Thompson hit the home run that won the pennant. Have you seen that picture from center field at the Polo Grounds? All the Dodgers were walking to the clubhouse, which is in straightaway center field. Jackie Robinson stood at second base, watched Bobby Thompson. As soon as he stepped on home plate, he turned around, walked to the. All the other Dodgers had turned around and started heading to the clubhouse. But he waited because he knew if he missed home plate, it was only a tie game.
The 0-1. 1-1.
Not a good ball strike ratio there for Beckett.
We talked about it earlier. These conditions, it's a battle for the starting pitchers. Said it perfectly, Kenny. Mind over matter. Just figure out a way to grind through it. Pitch count is high for both starting pitchers.
You can see Beckett trying to clear his cleats. That little grate they have behind the mound there, and tough to get your footing. Just one of there's that grate.
Runner goes, and that is chopped left side, fielded there by Beltre, and that's going to do it for the final out of the third. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one left. We played 3 at the stadium. It's 2-0 Yankees on my 9.
It's time for the Dodge trivia question, brought to you by your local Dodge dealers. Babe Ruth had an 89-46 record as a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. What was his record as a pitcher for the New York Yankees? We'll have the answer for you in the bottom half of the inning.
We go to the 4th. Babe's all over the place. A lot of those great pictures around the stadium as David Ortiz digs in against CC Sabathia. And the count 1-0. Ortiz served a single to left in the second.
We talked a little bit earlier that David Ortiz has gotten going at the plate because he's gotten ready a little bit earlier than he had at the beginning of the year. The timing is better. And when you watch him go through his pre-swing routine, the one thing you really want to pay attention to, that front foot. He's got a leg kick kind of like Alex Rodriguez does, and he wants to make sure he gets that foot down earlier than he did at the beginning of the year, and he's been right on time lately.
Yeah, he's hit 9 of his last 10 games. There's the effect of the blowing rain. It might have gotten onto the face of David Ortiz, made him a little uncomfortable. He stepped out.
Now the leg kick is a trigger device. We used to see Mattingly do it and O'Neill, but isn't also the leg kick an invitation to have everything fouled up? Where if it's coming down the wrong time, if it's too high,
especially if it's too late. If you're doing everything late, you're going to have to rush. And you can see David from the side. He kind of rides his back leg, holds that front leg up a little bit. We see Alex Rodriguez has the leg kick, David Ortiz, and when it's right and it's on time, it's going to be powerful. When it's wrong, you're right, Michael. You're going to be late. You're going to get beat. You're going to be in front of off-speed pitches.
Did you have a leg kick, Kenny?
Yeah. Mine was kind of straight up and down, though. There wasn't much stride to it. You got to get that foot down.
How about you, John?
I did not. I messed around with when Don Mattingly was the hitting instructor here on a little leg kick. But my problem is I would always go forward, and I would get myself in trouble. And Kenny's right. You got to just kind of go up and down, and I could never get the feel for it. So I went the other way and spread out and tried to use my hands.
Ortiz works a leadoff walk here in the fourth. He hasn't a lot of run, but you can see that Sabathia is not real sharp tonight. He's battling everything. Well, these are tonight's starters, and the pitching matchup brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. In 3 innings, Beckett's allowed 2 runs, both of them unearned. Sabathia now working into the 4th inning is yet to allow a run. There's a strike. The 0-1. There's a strike. 0-2.
It's the best fastball of the night right there from CC Sabathia, inside on a right-hander. First real good fastball he rode on that inner half. Take another look. Cervelli setting up inside. That's a perfect pitch. We've seen him miss that spot early on in this ball game.
A changeup from CC, which also serves to keep the right-handed hitters honest, because he can throw it for a strike, and they know it. It's usually down and away, off-speed pitch. It looks like a fastball. They go for it, and not only to go for it, he's reaching for it because it's away, so it makes it even more difficult for them to hit. Very rarely do you see that changeup inside. He doesn't miss very often with it.
Also set up by that fastball inside, and you know our good friend Mike Mussina always talked about if he can get the ball to the outer part on a righty away from his arm side, he was going to have a good game. Same thing for CC Sabathia. This would be away from his arm side. If he can get the ball in there consistently, got a good arm angle, probably going to have a good night. It's been a struggle so far.
Oh.
Here's your leg kick, Kenny.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Against Eckersley. Did you go yard there? Nice.
Oh, no kidding. Me and Eck, we were tight.
It was a little leg kick, Kenny, huh? Just kind of pick it up, put it down.
Up and down.
But that ball beat you a little bit and still drove it out of there.
Yeah. I'm just glad all my highlights are in color.
No, that was colorized, Kenny.
Yeah.
That was actually originally in black and white. The 2-2. Let's see if they turn two. There's one. And there's two.
It's that changeup you were talking about, Kenny.
Very effective pitch. You can get a right-handed hitter out in front, make him roll over. Yep, out in front, roll over. Tailor-made double play. Cano maybe sensing had time. He's got that strong arm, and I'll tell you what, Beltre went down the line pretty well. He's hustling, and he only got him by about maybe a step, maybe half a step. Little flip. There's the throw. Got him by a step. Good enough.
The pitch to Bill Hall is a strike.
Michael, I know you'll appreciate this. Bill Hall a couple of years ago was playing for the Brewers. He and several of his teammates appeared on The Young and the Restless.
I know that.
I saw that episode.
Young and the Restless, a soap opera on CBS, 12:30 every day. I've heard. People have told me.
Yeah.
By the way, Kenny's numbers against the Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley, 25 for 60 with 11 walks. That's 417. 3 home runs.
And you saw one of them.
The 0-2 popped up. Looking into the raindrops, and Teixeira puts it away for the final out of the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and because of the double play, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 Yanks.
Watch the bat.
Now let's check out the answer to the trivia question. And the people at Dodge tell us that Babe Ruth had an 89-46 record as a pitcher for Boston. What was his record as a pitcher for the Yankees? 5-0. 4 starts, 1 relief appearance. He did everything great, didn't he? Here's Francisco Cervelli. There's a strike. First time up, some barking between Cervelli and Beckett as Cervelli stepped out. And Beckett didn't like it. Then Cervelli hit a slow roller to third when he got back to the dugout, staring out toward the mound. Sometimes in this game you keep it simple. You try to overanalyze things. And the easy answer is the simple answer. And I said to Cervelli, how do you have so much success with runners in scoring position? Do you bear down, take the ball the other way? He goes, no, I just see the ball and hit it. Grounded foul.
He's a lot more quiet at the plate this year than he was last year. You got to believe the excitement of coming up for the first time, maybe a little anxious at the plate. This year, he's just settled in. Doesn't have a lot of movement. We talked about Ortiz and his big leg kick. If you watch Cervelli from the side, spread out, real short stride, just uses his hands.
You know, when the Yankees called him up last year, he wasn't even hitting 200 at Double-A. So you figured, with all the injuries, they're just asking him to catch. And they had a really good season offensively, and now this. And when you ask him why, he goes, Kevin Long, Yankee batting coach.
Kevin Long quieting him down, and Nick Swisher.
High fly ball right field. Drew. 1 out. Hey, boxing is returning to Yankee Stadium. Come out to the stadium on Saturday, June 5th for the Stadium Slugfest when the undefeated WBA Super Welterweight champion Yuri Foreman defends his title against 3-time world champion Miguel Cotto. Get your tickets today at Yankees.com/boxing to see the history of boxing continue at Yankee Stadium. The last boxing match at Yankee Stadium, Muhammad Ali against Ken Norton for the heavyweight championship. That was back in 1976. I heard for the boxing match they're going to have 9,000 seats on the field. And the boxing ring is going to be in short center field, more towards the second base area. And they'll have 9,000 seats on the field. And I think they're expecting a crowd of about 35,000. Then you're going to have football this year at Yankee Stadium, and this weather's kind of getting you in the mood for it. Notre Dame against Army, and then the Pinstripe Bowl at the end of the year.
Now, the former Yankee Stadium, some of the greatest fights in history, just across the street.
Louis Schmeling.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the greatest football games. Greatest football game ever played. In 1958, the Giants and the Colts. There's the Pinstripe Bowl on December 30th. It'll be here.
First overtime game.
The 2-2. He could not hold up. We'll wave at that as Timms goes down on strikes.
Steady diet of sinkers and then cutters to Marcus had him confused. Cutting the ball away, threw a couple of sinkers in. That's why you see a little check swing.
Daisuke Matsuzaka started for the Red Sox yesterday. Gave up 5 runs in the first inning. And really threw mostly fastballs. Almost exclusively fastballs. Then after the game, threw Victor Martinez under the bus and said, hey, kept calling fastballs. And then Martinez answered back and said, you know what? The ball is in his hand. He doesn't have to throw if he doesn't want it. And it got to a point that they had a meeting. Terry Francona called them together. How angry does that get a catcher, John?
I'll tell you what, that's probably the most unprofessional thing you can do is call out your catcher on pitch selection. To the media, I'm assuming, Michael?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a problem with pitch selection, you call your catcher into a private one-on-one with the pitching coach, manager, let's get it straightened out. That would not go over well with any catcher.
That one's driven deep to right center field. And that ball is gone. See ya. Home run, Juan Miranda. And the Yankees now lead 3-0. So Miranda has driven in 2 of the 3 runs.
Well, his bat didn't remain silent as Miranda goes deep here. That was a solid line drive. It's just a matter whether it's going to clear the bullpen wall. Out over the plate, reaches out for this one. It had the sound when he hit it. And off into the night. His second career home run and his first of this year.
Breaking ball strike to Randy Winn.
We talked about the wind early in this ball game. I didn't think you would see too many home runs. Juan Miranda kept that low. It was not a high, majestic home run, kind of a low line drive.
It's kind of you off the tee into the wind, isn't it? You keep it down.
That's a lot more impressive than my golf drive right there, Kenny. Low line drive. Right through the wind.
And delivered to the FedEx sign. Wynn tries to hold up. He cannot. Down 1-2.
With all these injuries, you get contributions from a lot of different people. Juan Miranda, a couple RBIs tonight.
I think Michael and I were talking about in spring training as the Yankees were getting ready to break camp. Miranda was headed back to the minor leagues. We were talking about the fact that there's going to be more than 25 people playing for the Yankees this year. And Miranda's back, and he makes a contribution tonight, driving in 2 runs.
Wynn swings and misses, and that'll do it here in the 4th. For the Yankees, 1 run on 1 hit, a home run off the bat of the designated hitter Juan Miranda. No errors and nobody left. We played 4 here at the stadium. Yankees lead the Red Sox 3-0. A home run into the wind and into the rain. It counts. On the Chase scoreboard, Yankees lead the Red Sox 3-0 as we go to the 5th. And the Chase scoreboard, by the way, is brought to you by Chase. Now with over 15,000 ATMs nationwide, Chase, what matters? Darnell McDonald will lead off against Sabathia. And the pitch is high, 1-0. Sabathia's got a pitch count that's up there at 77. Darnell McDonald, nice story. Toiled in the minor leagues for years and only really got this opportunity because of the injuries to Cameron and Ellsbury. And in his first game, he hit a home run and hit one off the wall to win the game. Coming out of high school, he had an opportunity, several scholarships for football, decided to go with baseball. Said he never really second guessed it. And here he is, contributing for the Red Sox.
Became a #1 draft pick of Baltimore. Didn't work out. I think he's been in the minor leagues 11 years.
11 years.
11 seasons.
Now, you guys have been in the minor leagues. How tough is it, and how much stick-to-itiveness must you have to stay there for 11 years?
Well, if you're a young man, I mean, you put up with anything to try and reach your dream of getting to the big leagues. But when you get to a certain point where it doesn't look like it's going to happen, and you jump from organization to organization.
Chop to A-Rod?
That's when you probably have to start rethinking. But each year I was moving up the ladder, so I could see myself getting closer each year. Where you get stuck in AAA, it's a little bit that's a little hard to take.
I think it's totally different now, though, Kenny. You know, with the AAA, these new stadiums, a lot of top-notch facilities.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, I think it would. I tip my hat for 11 years in the minor leagues and finally getting up here. When you get to AAA and you're knocking on the door, you're seeing your teammates go up, and it keeps you motivated that maybe your time will come.
And as odd as this may sound, you know, you could make a livable wage in the minor leagues. Some of them, you know, if they've been there a while, can make $80,000, $90,000. There aren't a lot of jobs in this country where you can make $80,000, $90,000 a year. So I think that's part of the reason too.
You know, when I signed, my father put a little limit on me, and he said, you know what, 5 years. If it doesn't work out in 5 years, it's time to get out and do something else. And luckily for me, I made it up after my 4th year and got a taste of the big leagues. Was up and down for a few, but it worked out after that.
Another case of father knows best, huh? I remember what my dad said to me when I went away to play. Of course, I signed with the Mets, and he says, "You've grown up here. You're just trying to get back here. You've already seen a lot." In a way, he was right, but it's a big country, and there are a lot of sights to see, even in the minor league cities. There's some of them I really enjoyed.
2-1.
I think my favorite place in the minors was Visalia, California, and I'm sure it's grown into a much bigger city than when I played because it was so long ago. But boy, what a pleasant place to play baseball.
You know, Michael, it's interesting too when you sign and you go to A ball, and like Kenny said, you work your way up, AA, AAA. Now you start seeing your teammates in the big leagues. You don't realize how close you are.
Scudero looks at a call, third strike.
Kind of keeps you motivated. You see CC Sabathia.
Nice pitch.
Nice catch. Nice combination.
Watch how still the glove remains. Well, that's part of it. You can't emphasize that enough. The catcher, the way he actually receives the ball, just holds it there for the umpire. Just give him a chance to give you the call. Well, they're going through some hot tea, hot coffee tonight.
Pitch is low to Pedroia.
Did you have a favorite minor league city, Flash?
I spent, I think, 4 or 5 years in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So up and down year after year.
One more year, you've been eligible to vote.
Pawtucket, the AAA team for the Red Sox.
I heard that's one of the greatest hitting ballparks ever.
Well, it's changed a lot. When I first got there, I mean, it was only like 380 to center field. You would have had a field day, Kenny. 380 to center, about 315 down the lines. And they've redone that stadium now. State of the art. And a good setup for the Red Sox. Only probably about a 50-minute drive to Fenway Park.
Count 2-1. Pedroia 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a fly ball to right. Sabathia about to throw his 90th pitch. After the game tonight, the Red Sox will travel to Minnesota. 2-game set against the Twins. No, that's in Boston. They'll be playing the Minnesota Twins in Boston.
And then after that, they play the Phillies and the Rays, and both of those are on the road.
So they just go home for 2 days?
I believe that's it.
There's a strike. Pedroia thought it was low.
You might have been right.
Right at the front kneecap. Three-two. Strike three. Pedroia down looking. And he is not pleased as the Red Sox go down in order 1-2-3. At the end of 4.5, we are halfway through. Yankees 3 and the Red Sox nothing. He called that one a strike. The other one was.
If you need any more.
Well, Dustin Pedroia has settled down. Both of those pitches were very close. They were borderline. CC Sabathia thought it was a strike. And as he walked up the mound, he essentially told Dustin Pedroia to shut up. And move on.
He used those words?
Essentially.
All right. You know what? That pitch was better than the previous one. That was a strike. Now, the previous one, I wasn't so sure. You can see definitely that was knee high on the corner. Yeah, had plenty of plate. It was knee high.
Jeter grounds it foul. Jeter's having a hard time keeping his eyes clear. A lot of the players are struggling with that. That's the 2-strike pitch there.
Yeah, that's.
Or the second strike.
Second strike was not quite as good as the call strike 3. So you see how Cervelli caught it and then pulled the ball back up a little bit. That sleight of hand that all catchers learn.
On the Chase scoreboard, 3-0 Yankees.
Campos, the home plate umpire, started this game off as a hitter's umpire. Was very tight early on, opening it up a little bit as the game goes on. If the elements have anything to do with that.
I would think it would work the other way. You know, you want the game moving in a weather game, and just about everything's a strike. Get everybody swinging.
Well, that was my point. As the game goes on and he gets a little colder down there, saying, all right, let's open it up a little bit. Let's go. Swing the bats.
With that strikeout of Pedroia, it became an official game with the Yankees leading. 4.5 innings in the book. That makes it official. These are updated this year. Right through this game. 4 games started, 14 innings pitched, 20 hits and 17 runs. Check that, 3 starts, not 4. This is the 3rd start. Swing and a miss. Jeter down on strikes for the 2nd time against Beckett. He's 0 for 3.
Beckett's actually got at least 1 strikeout in every inning. This is his 6th of the game. Look like Jeter might have got a piece of it. That's why he's looking back. But Martinez held on to it for strike 3. I used to hate when that happened.
Here's Brett Gardner, who is 0 for 2. Grounded to first and struck out. Well, the Red Sox have to be buoyed by the performance of Beckett. I mean, he has really struggled a lot of late. And in 4 1/3, he's allowed 1 earned run. The 2 runs that were scored in the 2nd inning are unearned. The home run by Miranda, earned. In stark contrast to what he's done against the Yankees earlier. His last start against the Yankees, look at the last 4 starts, a 10.48 ERA. That was this season. But last start against the Yankees, 5-7. That was on May 7th. 5 1/3, 9 hits, 9 runs.
Plus, this is his first start in 10 days. And mentioned back spasms before, so that I bet you the Red Sox are breathing a little easier because he has actually performed pretty well tonight outside of the facing Juan Miranda.
And he got the back spasms taking batting practice in anticipation of pitching in interleague games in the National League. And there's a strike on a 3-0 count. And Joe Girardi said that's what scares you the most about your pitchers hitting. They're just not used to hitting, and then they get in the batting cage and something could happen. 2 years ago, the Yankee season, took a big blow when Chien-Ming Wang hurt himself running the bases. Chien-Ming Wang was never the same for the Yankees. That one is laced into right field. It's a base hit. J.D. Drew will play it off the wall, and Brett Gardner has himself a 1-out double.
Well, Brett Gardner gets ahead in the count off of Josh Beckett. Pretty much guaranteed you're going to get a fastball when you're hitting in front of Mark Teixeira and Alex Rodriguez. And he takes advantage of it. Down and in, drills it to right field. Going to be an easy double for Brett Gardner.
A sweet swing by Brett Gardner, and tonight's sweet swing of the game is brought to you by Hershey Park. He kissed that ball.
Brett Gardner ahead on the count. That's where he's more apt to try and pull the ball. You can load up a little more, look for that fastball, maybe on the inner third of the plate. Something Gardner has not attempted to do this year, and that's steal third base.
Last year it was 5 for 5 stealing third. Pitch outside. See, right behind the umpire, Steve Sciarippa, formerly of the Sopranos, played Bobby Bacala. I'm telling you, Steve Sciarippa's been to more games than O'Neill and Leiter combined. Guy's here every game.
Sitting in good seats, too.
Plus in all kinds of weather.
High pop-up behind the plate. And out of play. Yelling at Victor Martinez.
Remember Bob Uecker talking about the fact he had to catch knuckleballers when he was in Milwaukee. And he said he got to know all the fans in the front row behind home plate by their first names.
Count 2-1. We sent out our best wishes to Bob Uecker, who underwent heart surgery and expected back at some time this year, but the surgery essentially went well, and best of luck to Uecker.
Mr. Baseball.
One of the legends in the game. You got to sit alongside Johnny Carson. That's making it. The 2-1. Count 2-2.
Plus he's famous for the Bob Uecker seats.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah. Here they are.
In the front row.
He wants to be in the front row, but he had some funny lines about when he was a player. That he'd come up in the bottom of the ninth with the bases loaded and look over in the other dugout, and the other team had their street clothes on already.
Long set by Beckett, the 2-2.
Look out.
And the count 3-2.
We've seen more cutters from Beckett tonight than usual. It's a good pitch for him. See moving Mark Teixeira off the plate. Good purpose pitch. Could go with a split finger down and away after that.
He said he knew his career was coming to an end when his own team would tell him it was a night game, but they had played that day. When he was in.
So Victor Martinez has a word with Beckett. Gardner leads off second. The 3-2. And Teixeira walks. That's going to bring up A-Rod. Voting is now open for the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim. Help send your favorite New York Yankees to this year's All-Star Game by voting up to 25 times at Yankees.com. Visit Yankees.com and cast your ballot now for your 2010 All-Stars. Vote early and vote often. Vote today at Yankees.com. Terry Francona fired up about that pitch. He said, this is a good pitch.
You wonder if Dustin Pedroia, sitting at second base, has a little question about where it is. It looked like it was down. We saw that same pitch get rung up on Pedroia. 3-1 count the inning before.
Pitch to Alex Rodriguez outside, 1-0. He's asking if it was off the plate. And he said it's the same pitch as the one that you punched out Pedroia, and he's right.
At least the second strike.
And Pedroia is shorter than Teixeira, so that pitch was probably a little higher. The one to Mark. And usually from the dugout, they'll always ask, was that outside? Because they could see height. So they saw that that ball crossed at the knees, and it certainly had the height to be a strike. Yankees 25-13. The Red Sox one game under 500 at 19-20. That one is lined to left field. Bill Hall will make the catch, and there were 2 outs. Look at how things have changed. First 8 games last year, the Yankees lost every one against the Red Sox. The last 17, the Yankees 14-3 and 8-0 here at home. First and second, 2 outs. Here's Cano. Count 1-0. Gardner at second and Teixeira at first. Yankees are up 3-0. We're in the bottom of the 5th. A rainy Tuesday night in New York City. And the count 2-0.
The Scudero bobbled it, and the Yankees went on to score 2 runs in that inning. That was with a man on and nobody out. Kind of set up the whole inning.
Boy, Beckett really takes forever.
Fielder's back with 2 outs. Gardner's taking a big lead and jumping around. And Beckett was just trying to hold him.
We're starting to see Robinson Cano expand out of the strike zone a little bit more than we saw early on during the year. The beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think he's getting a little impatient without getting hits. Or getting many hits lately.
It looks as if Beckett, 100th of the night. Driven the other way and out of play. Terry Francona.
I think more importantly, the last game he threw against the Yankees, if you watch those first 3 innings, you'd say that's Josh Beckett. For some reason, it all fell apart, but he still has that #1 type stuff.
Runners go, the 3-2. Lined into right center field. That is going to be trouble. It splits the outfielders, and it goes to the wall. Gardner scores. Here comes Teixeira. He'll score. It's a 2-run double for Cano, and the Yankees lead 5-0. High pitch count for Beckett. And you know that John Farrell is now talking about the pitches that were arguing, and now Farrell just he called to the bullpen, and Del Carmen didn't even warm up. Unless he's saying that Beckett is hurt, because now the manager comes out to join and the trainer. There's got to be something wrong with him. Maybe his back stiffened up again.
Yeah.
So Beckett leaves the ball game with 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Yankees are leading 5-0. Del Carmen will come on, and they'll have as much time as he needs to warm up.
It's Toyota's national sales.
Well, Terry Francona makes the call to the bullpen, brought to you by Verizon, Fios, TV, Internet, and phone. This is Beyond Cable. This is Fios. Well, Joe Girardi came out and had a long talk with Larry Vanover and Angel Campos. And I think he's saying, now, why is he getting all the throws he wants? Was he really hurt? Or was he just knocked out of the game and they didn't have somebody ready to warm? And maybe he's also asking him if Sabathia is going to be able to get some extra warm-ups because of the length of the inning. This is during the Alex Rodriguez at bat, and he stumbled on the mound. Looks down at the mound. I think he's saying, hey, listen, it's all chewed up and it's wet.
Well, if it was bothering him that much, maybe should have asked to bring the drying agent out on the mound.
When a pitcher gets hurt, though, don't you usually see the trainer go out to the mound, have a little conversation, talk to the umpire, and then you go to a relief pitcher? Saw Farrell, the pitching coach, basically talking to the umpire. Maybe that's why Joe Girardi's complaining.
So Del Carmen, as we mentioned, when you come in for an injured pitcher, you have as much time as you need to warm. See, Farrell is the one talking to the umpire and pointing to the mound, saying maybe that's why his back stiffened up. And then the trainer comes running out, but the signal's already been made.
It's already made.
Yeah. My question is, what's to keep any manager from doing that? You understand what I mean? In any situation. Yeah.
Terry Francona not happy the way his team is playing. They're down 5-0 right here. Bottom of the 5th inning, runner on second and 2 outs. Take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Brought to you by Hyundai. Think Hyundai, but act now for special deals at your Hyundai dealer. Toronto's playing good baseball, beat Minnesota 11. Giants and the Padres scoreless. Houston and the Dodgers will start any moment now. So you get caught up. 59-minute rain delay at the start of this game. Yankees are leading 5-0 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's Cervelli against Manny Del Carmen. Pitch outside.
Opponent's only hitting 159 against Del Carmen this year. The number's pretty good. 9 walks and 18 2/3. Probably wants to improve on those numbers.
The 1-0. Lined into left field. Bill Hall makes the play, and that'll do it. But the Yankees scored 2 more runs on 2 hits. No errors, 1 man left. 5 in the books here at the stadium. Yankees lead the Red Sox 5-0 on my night.
Wow, this is really nice.
Between both the managers and the umpires, it's Terry Francona speaking with the crew chief Larry Vanover, who's going to go over and now maybe talk to Joe Girardi. Head for a phone. Let's see what he does. He's looking for a telephone. And I wonder who he's calling. I don't know if it has to do with any impending weather. That shouldn't be a problem here. This is an official ball game now. Yankees leading by a score of 5-0.
Can't really figure out what's going on here. I mean, Danny Cunningham, the head groundskeeper, and you see the grounds crew ready to go. You wouldn't need a phone to get in touch with them.
Well, Sabathia is ready to go. And it looks like the phone call that had to be made is made. And we're ready to roll.
Yeah, I wonder if this might be a protest about the pitching change that the Red Sox actually made. Could be.
called the press box. And the one on the left, Joe can call his house. The house phone. J.D. Drew with a high fly ball, shallow center. And boy, the wind really took that, and Gardner hauled it in for the first out. And that's exactly what it is. The Yankees are playing the game under protest. And they said that there's no indication of any injury to Beckett before they took him out. So that is the protest that the Yankees are lodging. And up to that point, Beckett had not showed any discomfort about anything, but there is that history of the back spasms where it caused him to essentially miss the start. Game really has some nice pace to it, I'll tell you that. Yankees lead 5-0, top of the 6th. You know, you look up at the scoreboard and Sabathia has not allowed a run. That one's driven deep to left. I might have talked too soon. Now he's allowed a run. So a solo home run by Youkilis, and the Red Sox are on the board. Youkilis' 7th home run of the season.
Not only his 7th of his season, he's now officially gotten a book. That was his 100th career home run. And my former teammate Lee May used to say that you don't have a book until you got 100 home runs in the major leagues. So now you can put CC Sabathia in his book for his 100th career homer. He said prior to 100 you only have a pamphlet. So
there's Victor Martinez. Anyway, what I was going to ask you guys, he had a 0 on the board. Now it's a 1, but you just don't get the sense that he's pitching that well.
You know, and I think Kenny said it perfectly. I mean, the type of weather tonight, this is going to be a tough start for any pitcher. And we saw with Beckett, CC Sabathia. This is hard work out there tonight. Mind over matter. You just kind of have to will yourself to get the outs.
He's only had 1, 2, 3 inning. That was in the 5th. So he's had to labor somewhat to get to this point in the ball game.
Popped up. Cervelli, the wind takes it, and he makes the play.
He actually caught that, I believe, in foul territory. That ball started out near the pitcher's mound.
These are usually trouble when the catcher looks up and then looks towards third base. And Alex Rodriguez was looking at Cervelli. And you're right, Kenny. It ends up in foul territory. The wind playing a lot of tricks. You see Cervelli looking at Alex. Alex looking at him. You're on your own, kid.
Foul ball.
Talk about hard work with CC Sabathia. That's hard work with Francisco Cervelli. Hanging with a tough pop-up.
That home run by Youkilis is the first run allowed by CC Sabathia in 20 innings in the Bronx against the Red Sox. He's thrown 100 pitches. The 0-1 to Ortiz. 1-1. Last year at Boston, against Boston here at the stadium, 14 2/3, 3 hits, 4 walks, and 17 strikeouts. Grounded to second. Cano is there, and that'll do it. A 10-pitch inning for Sabathia in the 6th. But the Red Sox get on the board. 1 run on 1 hit. Nobody left on base. That 1 hit off the bat of Kevin Youkilis, his 100th career home run. Yankees lead 5-1. Take a look now at the Yankees in-game box score, brought to you by Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles in America. Drive one at your Tri-State Ford dealer today. The Yankees, 2 hits by Juan Miranda. Robinson Cano with a big double. Alex Rodriguez scored a run. Also a base hit by Gardner. A double and a run scored. Jeter's 0 for 3. So is Cervelli. And Mark Teixeira walked and scored a run. Randy Winn drove in a run, but he is 0 for 2. So the Yankees with 5 hits and 5 runs. The Red Sox 4 hits, 1 run, and 1 big error, because that error led to 2 unearned runs for the Yankees in the second inning. Marco Scutaro booted the ball. The 2-0. And the count 2-1.
We just had a shot of Scutaro, and he and Adrian Beltre expecting Thames to pull the ball. Look, if you look to Scutaro's left there in the infield, look how much room. They're really expecting Thames to pull the ball. That is the effect of scouting reports for the infielders. And you can see Youkilis way off the line at first base. Didn't see Marcus Thames hit many ground balls to the right side. He's definitely a guy who wants to get the head out, pull it.
3-1. And that's what he did, but it's a foul ball.
Not even close.
Marcus Thames really had a worry during spring training. Came in as a non-roster player. Said it was on his mind all spring training. Then when he was notified that he had made the team, it relaxed him just a bit.
Wasn't that on the last day of spring training?
Mm-hmm. I think what I like about the Yankee bench this year, and I think that the Yankees have grown into this over the last couple of years. Sometimes when they built teams in the past, they would try to get the biggest stars that were available and then just put people that were used to playing all the time on the bench. An everyday player and put them on the bench. These guys realize they're bench players. The only one who really doesn't is Randy Winn. And he's going to have to learn how to do that. Not that he doesn't accept it. He certainly knew the job that he took here with the Yankees, but he'd never done it before as Randy Winn works a walk. Now, John, you had gotten here with the Yankees, and you had been an everyday catcher with Tampa Bay. Was it easy for you to all of a sudden not play every day?
Well, it wasn't easy. It was a different role. You had to find, how much work you needed to do in between starts to be ready to go. But I think a veteran player who gets to the end of his career accepts that role. And then once you accept it mentally, you're going to be better at it. I always worry about the young guys like Pena, Cervelli. They're still looking to have long big league careers and be everyday guys. That's a tough adjustment mentally, knowing you're not going to play every day. They've handled it beautifully.
How about the flip side, though? They would rather mop the floor up in the big leagues and play every day in the minors.
That's true. And as long as you have the right attitude about it, like, on this team, you have a chance to go to the World Series, and you can be a big part of that off the bench. I guess you worry more on like a second division club where you have young guys on the bench who are not happy about not playing every day.
That was one of the options for Phil Hughes last year. Will you go to the bullpen, or do you want to start down at Scranton-Wilkes-Barre? He made the right choice.
Lou Piniella has a couple of young players on the Cubs that he uses off the bench, defensive replacement in the outfield. He brought up a young shortstop who's playing every day, Castro. But he was asked about it and got really angry. You're retarding their growth. He goes, what? We're trying to win games. Can't worry about somebody's growth as a player. If I need them here to win games, that's what we're going to do. And there's two schools of thought. Yeah, you want to win games, and you also want to be able to season a player so that he can be an everyday player down the line. What's more important? But I guess winning up here is more important.
Especially when you haven't won in over 100 years. Speaking of the Cubs.
1-2. Miranda with a ground ball to Pedroia. There's one, and that's all they'll get. After this, Tampa Bay comes into town. First base or first place Rays. And these are the probable starters. Wade Davis, a good number 5 starter, who's having a very good first year against A.J. Burnett. And then big game James Shield against Andy Pettit. American League pitchers, pretty good ERAs there. All under 4, and Andy's under 2.
Yeah, one of the reasons why the Rays are in first place is because of their starting pitching.
Yeah, they're really not hitting that well. I mean, Carlos Pena is hitting about 200.
Yeah, well, they still have Longoria. And
Carl Crawford's having a good year.
Yeah. Yeah, Pena's he's been struggling most of the season.
He's in his final year of his contract, as is Crawford. But they are winning with pitching.
Yeah. Their starters have been very good. Their bullpen has been Soriano's done a good job out of bullpen closing games, but I think they had a setback here recently. J.P. Howell has been injured, one of their prime setup men,
and he started the season injured.
Yeah, and he suffered a setback in his while he's trying to get back into the bullpen rotation.
.3-0 count on Wynn. Miranda at first with 1 out. Yankees are leading 5-1, bottom of the 6th. Tampa Bay is 6th in the majors in runs scored, and they're 2nd in team ERA. That gets it done. 2.74 ERA for an American League team. And Wynn works a walk.
So we saw the stats on Del Carmen and his high walk totals, and it's starting to manifest itself right here. He's walked 2 batters this inning. And while he might be tough to hit, you know, you kind of open the door with base on balls, and that one hit you give up does some damage to you.
Here's Jeter. Yesterday, a very controversial day in baseball. Hanley Ramirez, one of the best players in the game. In the eyes of his manager, Freddie Gonzalez, Ramirez, the shortstop for the Marlins, didn't hustle after the ball that got past him and took him out of the game. And today, they went back and forth, and Ramirez said, well, what does he know? Never played in the big leagues. And Freddie Gonzalez said, you know what? Unfortunately, they can't all be like Derek Jeter.
Well, Gonzalez stood his ground too, right? Benched him, didn't play him today.
Yep, and they won today.
I saw the Wes Helms, one of the teammates, said he wanted an apology, right, to the club.
Right, and then he said, I'm not apologizing. He said, because so many guys on this team don't even run hard to first, and they don't apologize. Why should I? There's Ramon Ramirez. And it's a battle that Freddie Gonzalez can't win. Ramirez is the star of the Marlins. Gonzalez is in the final year of his contract.
You got to make a statement.
But he's making a statement, and I think that this is going to end up staining Hanley Ramirez more than it will Freddie Gonzalez, who will end up getting another job someday if he loses his job because of this.
He's got to have the backing, though, from upstairs. I mean, he's the manager. He's got to be able to discipline the team. And I saw the play, and I know that Hanley Ramirez had fouled the ball off his foot, and supposedly he was hurting. But if you're hurting so badly that you can't run hard and chase a ball, you should be out of the game. You should tell somebody that this is bothering me. And I saw the play this morning, the replay of it, and he definitely wasn't running hard to chase down the ball, on which 2 runs scored, and the guy who originally hit the ball got to third base. And I give Freddie Gonzalez a lot of credit for going down there and asking what the deal was.
What I didn't understand, now I could understand him pulling him out of the game, but then after the game he told the media he didn't hustle. That he wasn't hurt, he didn't hustle. That's why he got taken out, and I think that's what really angered Hanley Ramirez. And the problem is that you're saying the front office should back him. Jeffrey Loria, the owner of the Marlins, is very close with Hanley Ramirez, so that
he should be. I mean, he's his best player. He should be close to him.
But it was interesting that Gonzalez said they can't all be like Derek Jeter.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, too.
And, you know, Jeffrey Loria, the owner of the Marlins, also hung the hat on Freddie Gonzalez at the beginning of the year. He said, you know, this team should win. That's a flawed team. I just saw them beat the Mets 4 games, but that's a flawed team. There are things that they don't do well. And I don't know how you think they're going to beat out the Phillies.
Well, hustling shouldn't be one of them. I mean, that should be something for everybody to do.
A couple of coaches and managers have told me through the years the best thing that could happen to you is when your star player plays hard, because everybody else has to follow. That's why Phil Jackson had an easier time with the Bulls, because nobody practiced harder than Michael Jordan. That's why Joe Torre loved Derek Jeter so much, ran down to first all the time. How could anybody else not when your biggest star runs? 3-2, slice foul. It's just strange in this politically correct time for a manager to take a public stance like that against a star player. He must have really been fed up. It couldn't have just been an isolated incident.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think this has been bubbling over a period of time. I think he had problems with him last year.
Well, I'll tell you what, the rest of the guys on the team will take notice, though. He's willing to bench the star player for not hustling. Everybody else will fall into line. And if you're Freddie Gonzalez, you can go to sleep at night knowing you did it your way. It might not work out at the end of the day.
Jeter works a lot.
Look, Charlie Manuel benched Jimmy Rollins, an all-star, you know, a WBC player, an all-star of all-stars. And Jimmy Rollins said he was right. I give Rollins credit for saying he was right for benching me. And Charlie Manuel's one of the best managers in the game.
John Farrell wants to stop it right here. 5-1, as the Red Sox proved last night. You're not out of the game. You certainly don't want to have the Yankees pile on here and make it near impossible for you to come back.
Yeah, but Del Carmen has kind of painted himself into the corner here. He has yet to give up a hit. There's no ball out of the infield, but as the bases are loaded.
Miranda's at third, Wynn's at second, Jeter is at first. And here's Brett Gardner. Infield is in, and there's a strike. And the reason it's in is because they're figuring we can't turn a double play on Gardner. So why play it back? Let's cut off the run at the plate.
Like you mentioned, a 4-run lead for the Yankees, not insurmountable if you're the Red Sox.
That's why it's important to get a run in here, because a 5-run lead, a grand slam will not tie the ball game.
Mark Teixeira waits on deck. That one is chopped slowly towards second. They're coming home, and they're going to get Miranda. Nice play by Pedroia. So bringing the infield in certainly did work there. And now 2 men are out.
And Brett's going to be a little disappointed he didn't get his ace swing. It looked like a fastball down. He just chopped at it trying to put it in play, but right at Pedroia. An easy throw to Martinez. Definitely down out of the zone, a little two-seamer. Didn't get a good pitch to hit.
You know, it'd been better for the Yankees if Del Carmen actually caught that ball, because he's running away from home plate. He wanted to spin and make an accurate throw. Pedroia was coming directly towards home. I don't know if he called him off or not, but you see Del Carmen bouncing off the mat. If he makes this play, it's going to be more difficult for him to actually throw home. But Pedroia is coming directly towards home and makes a nice play.
Pitch to Teixeira is outside 1-0. Mark's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Foul tipped. Count 1-1. Yankees got 2 in the second, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, and now trying to add on here in the 6th inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs, and the number 3 hitter in the lineup up, Mark Teixeira. And the pitch upstairs on a check swing, and the third base umpire Mark Carlson said no, he did not go.
3 changeups in a row from Del Carmen. Take a look from the side. Like Mark held up his swing. See 3 changeups in a row. We'll see if Mark's in on a fastball, banking on the fact he won't throw 3 in a row or 4 in a row.
The 2-1.
Good fastball with a little movement.
Teixeira's a .359 career hitter with the bases loaded, and that includes 4 grand slams. Two off the foot of Teixeira.
Another changeup up. Ooh, right off that front foot. Has that guard protecting the front shin.
Right on the guard. I guess it still hurts. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases loaded. And the pitch. Grounded foul.
Well, he is featuring a gang of changeups to Teixeira. You always got fastball in your mind. You don't want to get beaten on the fastball with 2 strikes. Most of these changeups have been pretty good spots. Down and away.
And the count is full at 3-2. So the runners will go. Wins at third. Jeter's at second. Gardner at first. Great speed on the bases for the Yankees. With the runners going, 3 runs could actually score on a single. There they go. Popped up. Wynn's going to take that. And Beltre follows it. And it goes right into his glove for the final out. So Del Carmen works into and out of trouble as the Yankees leave the bases loaded.
In every front.
Well, the grounds crew comes out here at Yankee Stadium, and they're just getting the field in a little bit better playing shape. If you look at the weather right now, this is about as good a weather as we've had. For the most part, now it's a very, very light mist. Danny Cunningham and his crew, they do a great job and gets it done quickly. They're going to put another grate there. Danny Cunningham does it all. A lot of instruments there. And now he's ready to roll. Let's take a look at the Red Sox in-game box score, and it's brought to you by Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles in America. Drive one at your Tri-State Ford dealer today. Well, the Red Sox, they have 4 hits today. 1 by Scudero, 1 by Drew, a home run by Youkilis, and David Ortiz singles. So 3 singles and the home run by Youkilis. And for Youkilis, it's his 100th home run of his career. 4 strikeouts for CC Sabathia, who this is one of those games. I remember Roger Clemens used to say you grind through, and Clemens would tell me that he would prefer these games if he'd come out on top than dominating. He said because you really had to work, you really had to grind, you really had to make everything come together and squeeze every last ounce of what you could, and that's what CeCe's doing today.
Well, this is the type of night weather-wise where you're not going to go out there and feel good. You're not going to feel loose. You're not going to feel locked in. You've got to try to find a way to get some outs. And here's CeCe Sabathia out there to start the 7th inning. We talked early on, trying to give the Yankees some length in this ball game. So far, so good.
Against the Red Sox, 5 1/3 on the first game, 6 hits, 5 runs. In the second one, he was 1 strike away from getting the win in that game, but he left after 4 2/3 because the rain came with 2 strikes on a batter. That would have been the 3rd out, and the rain delay was too long, so they brought in the bullpen to close out the game, and he didn't get credit for the win. Here's Beltre, and the pitch is high, 1-0. Beltre's 0 for 2. He struck out, then wrapped into a 6-4-3 double play. The 1-0. On the Jaguar scoreboard, Yankees lead 5-1, and it's brought to you by Jaguar. Visit your local Jaguar dealer to experience the 2011 Jaguar XJ. Grounded to Jeter. 1 out.
Looking at that pitch count, 105 for CeCe Sabathia, the most he has thrown early on this year, 111. Pretty routine play. Almost short hop, Mark Teixeira. Hoping it's going to get there. I'm sure ball's a little slick.
Kind of got a grin on his face. Here's Bill Hall.
You would be thinking that Joe Girardi would like to see CeCe get through this inning, then turn it over to the bullpen. In fact, he's got somebody warming up right now.
The fact that CeCe could give them 7 innings on a night like this when the bullpen, and there's a quote from Joe Girardi, is a mess right now, tells you what you need to know about the ace. And there's David Robertson getting ready. Very frank comment by Girardi after the game yesterday about his bullpen being a mess. Savis is on the DL. Chan-Ho Park came off the DL, was not sharp yesterday. Jabba wasn't available. Robertson wasn't available. Mariano was. The best relief pitcher they had yesterday was Javier Vasquez, who ended up getting the win by retiring Kevin Youkilis.
Savis was in the clubhouse prior to the game talking to the press, and I believe he said he's going to try and play catch on Thursday, or maybe he said Friday. Thursday or Friday, he's going to actually try and play catch. There's Ace.
He's so hugely important to that bullpen because he plays so many roles. He could give you 3 innings, could pitch the 8th inning, and he does it well all the time. He got an epidural to try to relieve the pain in his back. And the count is full at 3-2. .110 pitches for Sabathia, 64 strikes and 46 balls. And the pitch. High fly ball, right field. Timms drifts over. And he makes the play. Now, we told you about Vasquez being so effective and the bullpen being a mess. People even yesterday were asking Girardi, did you skip over Vasquez to be in the bullpen? And here's what Girardi was saying.
Our bullpen is a mess. I needed a long guy today. We could not activate Chan-Ho Park if you didn't have a long man. You couldn't call up some of the guys that we've sent down. You can't recall them. And you did not have Nova. So we wanted Chan-Ho Park back in our bullpen, and that's why Javi had to do it.
And that's the reason he said that they skipped over Vasquez. He kept insisting it had nothing to do with the fact that it was the Red Sox. That one's chopped in front of the plate. Cervelli gets an angle, and Darnell McDonald is out as the Red Sox go down 1-2-3. At the end of 6.5, it's time for the 7th inning stretch here at the stadium. Yankees lead the Red Sox 5-1, but will stay right where we are to honor America here in the Bronx.
Please rise.
We go to the bottom of the 7th inning here at the stadium. The Yankees are leading this one 5-1 as they try to sweep this mini 2-game set. New pitcher for the Red Sox is Ramon Ramirez, taking over for Manny Del Carmen. On the Jaguar scoreboard, 5-5-0, leading 1-4-1. A win tonight, the Yankees would be 4-1 on this 7-game homestand with 2 to go against Tampa Bay. Ramirez to Rodriguez. There's a strike. Rodriguez, Cano, and Cervelli. The thing that's startling right now, if the Yankees win this game, they're 26-13, and they still have a long way to go. They still have to get 6 more outs, but 26-13 is outstanding. And if you look at their lineup today, and if somebody told you when the Yankees came out of spring training that against the Red Sox in that series in May, the bottom 4 would be Cervelli, Timms, Miranda, and Wynn, and that the Yankees would be able to beat the Red Sox twice, you'd be a little bit surprised. So the Yankees are playing very, very shorthanded right now because of the injuries to Nick Johnson, Curtis Granderson, and now the injury to Nick Swisher, which has not put him on the DL, but has kept him on the bench. Same thing with Jorge Posada. So a compromised lineup that's getting the job done.
Those 4 players have been on base 5 times tonight. So the bottom of the lineup has contributed to turning the lineup over.
Punch through the right side, a base hit for Alex. He's 2 for 3 with a walk. .112 pitches for CC Sabathia, and that's how it broke down.
See, but the last 2 are important because he was already at 92 at the end of 5. And then he just added 20 more pitches in the last 2 innings to get the move it on to a comfortable point to bring in the bullpen and get Jabba up. Just picking those outs off the scoreboard.
Here's Cano. Low.
You know, Michael, you bring up a good point about the bottom of the lineup and all the injuries as you look at the numbers for Ramirez. 17 hits in 15 innings, but there's always a mindset in that clubhouse. You know, just find a way to win the ball game with whoever you have out there. Do your part. Remember being on that 03 team where Derek Jeter separated his shoulder opening day up in Toronto, and there was no sense of panic. I'd never been on a team like that before, where everybody just looks around and says, we'll all do our part, pick it up a little bit. Got off to a great start that year.
If you look at the opening day lineup this year, these were the 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters in that lineup. Posada, Granderson, Swisher, and Gardner. And tonight again, Cervelli, Timms, Miranda, and Wynn. Nub toward third. Beltre gets Cano as Rodriguez moves to second. And now here comes the bottom 4, starting with Cervelli.
Another runner in scoring position for Cervelli. He's been so good this year. 15 RBIs already.
Yeah, this is his 21st game. He's got 15 runs batted in. And I would believe that in all of those 20 games, it's not like he played the whole game in all 20 of them. Sometimes he only got 1 or 2 at bats.
Pitch high to Cervelli, 1-0. Count 2-0. Cervelli is 11 for 15 with runners in scoring position. And he takes a strike right there, 2-1.
With those numbers, you're going to start to get some respect. A 2-0 count. Ramirez goes with an off-speed little slider, it looked like. Not giving in a fastball count.
The 2-1. Now, how come Martinez gave signs with the fingers there, but when there was a runner on second base and Beckett was on the mound, he went through all the gyrations of the chest protector?
I think it's starting pitcher Beckett is probably more familiar with the chest protector shin guard signs that Jason Varitek uses, and now you have a reliever. And the signs change with every pitcher that comes into a ball game. Ramirez more comfortable with traditional signs. Catcher kind of goes with what the pitcher wants to do, what he's most comfortable with.
Swing and a miss as Cervelli down on strikes. John, you feel like going down memory lane with me right now? Can I please?
Sure.
Let's go back to July 1st, 2004. Oh, yeah. Look how happy you were. You've ever been happy?
That's the only time I ever showed emotion out on the field, or actually tried to.
Really?
I always tried to have an attitude, you know, never let the opponent see you sweat, so to speak, or
I do this all the time, sort of thing.
Never my poker face.
Well, what made you just be so euphoric there?
You get a game-winning hit against the Boston Red Sox in an extra inning game where your captain goes into the stands. You have to show a little bit of emotion.
They had to match the crowd.
And here's that play that John's talking about. Garrick was beaten up. Left the game, and the Yankees ended up winning. Now, you were the last guy off the bench, right? You were the last line of defense?
I was, and I remember John Lieber on that team was actually in the clubhouse swinging a bat off a tee, hitting balls off a tee. And I remember walking in the clubhouse saying, if Joe Torre sends John Lieber up to the plate instead of me, it's time to take it to the house, Kenny.
Popped up.
Yeah.
Right there is Scudero, and that'll do it. No runs a hit, no errors, and one man left. Well, John came up, and John delivered. Now Jabba, he has to deliver in the 8th.
Wow, this is really nice. I like it.
It's a Jetta limited edition. It's a great value, loaded with heated front seats, alloy wheels.
Red one.
Oh.
Guess what?
What?
It's got Bluetooth.
Nice.
Hands-free call.
Silver one.
And you get no charge scheduled carefree maintenance.
Really?
Yeah.
Back one. We have to start sitting someplace else.
We put a lot more Jetta in this Jetta. Hurry in and lease the new Jetta limited edition for $199 a month. Visit tristatevw.com.
In the tradition of great SVU performances,
Do you know what killed him?
the gripping story will stop you cold. Next SVU.
Tonight at 11 on My 9.
James Cameron changed cinema with Avatar. Panasonic does it at home with Viera HD TVs. Immerse yourself in stunning full HD with technology like Infinite Black Panel Pro and 600 Hz subfield drive. Live the director's epic vision right in your own home with Panasonic Viera HD TV. There's a new world out there. Bring it home. Own Avatar on Blu-ray and DVD. Panasonic. Ideas for life.
Winning more awards for quality and customer service than any other luxury manufacturer in the last 10 years says something. Yet the award we value most is the fact that Lexus has had more repeat loyal drivers in more of the last 10 years than any other luxury automotive brand. To express our thanks, we're featuring our best values of the year, giving you unprecedented access to Lexus at your Lexus dealer.
Watch Brenda Blackman and Harry Martin weeknights on My 9 News at 11.
Tonight after the game, former Yankee reliever Mike Stanton played 19 seasons with 8 different teams. Now he's sporting some new stripes. You got me tonight on the Verizon Fios game wrap-up after the game on My 9 News. Now you want to watch, don't you?
You know what it's all about, don't you, Mike?
No, I really don't.
Well,
I think is he a high school coach?
He is.
I think his son is a very big prospect as well.
I know where he's coaching, actually.
Where?
I'm not sure if we should be giving this away.
Just tell me where he's coaching.
He's coaching at a rival of my high school. I went to St. Joseph's Regional High School in Montvale, New Jersey.
Right.
He's at one of our big rivals. I don't even know if I can get those words out of my mouth.
Tough for you, isn't it?
Not really.
Jabba Chamberlain takes over. This will be his 19th game. Well, the official word from the Red Sox is that Beckett left with tightness in his lower back. And the Yankees, if you just joined us, are playing the game under protest because they say he did not show any ill effects or any injury before he was taken out of the game, and then Del Carmen was allowed all that time to warm up. So Sabathia goes 7 innings for the Yankees. Now it's time for Jabba Chamberlain. Is the rival high school Don Bosco Prep?
I think it might be. They're having a good year under Mike Stanton this year. First year as a manager.
Scott Schoenweiss warming for the Red Sox. Mike was a big part of the Yankee championships in the 90s. A great tandem with Jeff Nelson to team up to get to Mariano Rivera, and then occasionally mix in Ramiro Mendoza. That was some bullpen.
Different styles, too. Just Mendoza in particular, one of the best sinkers in the league.
Count 1-2. Top of the order for the Red Sox: Scudero, Pedroia, and Drew against Jabba.
CC Sabathia did his job. 7 innings, 1 run, 4 hits. Quality performance, and more importantly, giving the Yankees some length with a beat-up bullpen.
Jabba has settled nicely back into his setup role. In fact, in 7 games in May, 7 innings, 4 hits, 12 strikeouts. He has allowed 3 runs, but the 12 strikeouts impressive. Picked up the win Friday night against the Twins, came in and struck out the side, and the official scorer decided to give him the win rather than Damaso Marte, who was in the game when the Yankees took the lead, but Marte had given up runs and hits when he came in. Javi Vasquez yesterday picked up a win by getting 1 out, and it almost seemed to be poetic justice because he has struggled so mightily this year and got skipped over for a start. For him to come in relief and pick up a win, and as they say, baseball is a funny game.
Well, actually, wasn't last night supposed to be his start?
It could have been.
Yeah, it could have been.
Either he or Hughes, because they both pitched the same day in a doubleheader. Phil Hughes had his first shaky start, but actually left the game after 5 innings with a lead. And the bullpen could not hold on. Shaky bullpen performance. And the count 3-2. And this turned out to be a pretty big strikeout of Youkilis. because that could have been a tack-on run for the Red Sox. It was a confidence builder for him, and it kept the deficit at 2, and the Yankees came back to win the game.
Yeah, nasty slider, too.
Grounded to third. Alex Rodriguez. And the throw pulls Teixeira off the bag. Right now, it's been misting the entire game, so the infield grass is probably a little dewy or wet, and Alex Rodriguez didn't get a good grip on the ball.
I don't know. Did he wipe his hands? Sometimes he does that when he goes to the dirt with. Yeah, he did. But still comes up with a low throw. Teixeira does everything he can to remain on the bag. Yeah, that's pretty close. Let's watch that right foot. I don't know. Of course, the umpire has a better look than we do.
That scored an E5 on Alex.
Now, the ball definitely beats him, and Teixeira has it. It's a matter of whether he has contact with the bag or not.
Now, Java ended up getting the loss on Sunday when Mariano blew the game. But in fairness to him, there was a ball hit to Teixeira. It wasn't an easy play, but it was a play that Teixeira probably makes 9 out of 10 times. Looked like he got handcuffed. The ball trickled behind him, and then they took Java out and brought in Mariano, who then walked Jim Tomei to force in a run and then gave up the grand slam to Jason Kubel.
I think a couple of things were working against Teixeira on that play. First of all, it was a bright, sunshiny day. Maybe the shirts in the stands, the ball blending in. But also, if you notice, with the bases loaded, the runner actually passed in front of him. And then the ball came, it was like a screenshot in hockey. And he just had a chance to knock it down.
Saw a curveball there by Java. He's thrown a couple of pretty good curveballs this year. Usually, if you're a reliever, you're going to throw the fastball and the slider, but he is mixing in that curveball. And that's punched out past Cano and into right field. So the Red Sox have a rally here. First and second, nobody out. As we move along in this inning, let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com. So an error by Rodriguez and a single by Pedroia. And although this game, it seems like it's been going on forever, and it seems like the Yankees have dominated so thoroughly, it's just 5-1. And it's still very much in doubt. They might have to use Mariano Rivera on this day.
Well, it has that same feel of last night's ball game where the Yankees jumped out to an early lead, and then the next thing you know, J.D. Drew hits a big home run to get him right back in it. When you know it, here's J.D. Drew again.
Drew tonight 1 for 3.
J.D. Drew last night got a little cut fastball in on his hands, and he just pulls his hands inside, able to keep it fair. Phil Hughes can't believe it.
Against Java, Drew 2 hits in 19 at-bats.
It's one of those games with the weather being as bad as it is. 2 for 19, 105. It's who wants it more. CC Sabathia had a gutty performance to throw 7 innings. The Red Sox showing a little life here in the 8th.
Swings at the 2-0 pitch and fouls it away.
Drew has probably been the hottest of all the Red Sox hitters over the last 20 or so ball games. He has hit in 21 of his last 24 games.
Entering tonight, 400 over his last 16 games, and now the count is 3-1. And Java's really working himself into trouble because Youkilis is on deck, and all that guy does seemingly is get big hits. Nobody up in the Yankee bullpen. 3-1. Serve down the left field line. That is going to be trouble. It's in there for a base hit, goes up against the wall. Scudero scores. Pedroia stops at third. It's an RBI double for Drew. And now the Yankee lead is 5-2.
We saw the replay of the J.D. Drew home run last night. He had a base hit up the middle. Now he goes the other way in a 3-1 count. Not trying to pull, gets a fastball away and drives it the other way. We talked about the numbers, how locked in he has been using the whole field.
Good job of Randy Wynn out there in left field, getting the ball back in quickly, making sure that Pedroia has to stop at third.
Robertson gets up again. Dave Island goes out and talks with Chamberlain. Still nobody out, second and third. And that brings up Youkilis. Youkilis with 2 walks and a solo home run. And that was the only blemish on the mark of CC Sabathia. Slider in the dirt. We're in the 8th. Yankees lead 5-2. Hits are even at 6 apiece. Red Sox are threatening. 1 run already in. All started with the throwing error by A-Rod. Looped into right field. That could be trouble. That is trouble. A run scores. Here comes another. The throw is not in time. So it is a 2-run single by Youkilis. And just like that, the Yankee lead is down to 1 as they lead 5-4.
Well, Michael was talking about Youkilis getting big hits. And although this isn't one of his best hits, it works out well for him. A little blooper over first base. Kind of got jammed. Fastball running in on him. But this falls in between 3 Yankees. The Sheriff, Cano, and Thames. And the Red Sox have 2 more runs. Still nobody out here in the 8th inning.
That was no man's land. Couldn't have dropped it any more perfectly. So here's Victor Martinez. Now he's 3 for 10 lifetime against Jabba, but 2 of the 3 hits, home runs. Still nobody out. Count 1-0. Now Marte gets up. And he's up to get to Ortiz.
Marte's been used a lot lately.
The 1-0. 2-0. The 2-0. Missed outside. Now you're 1 pitch away from moving the tying run to second base. And what's left of the crowd getting very restless as David Ortiz waits on deck. Do they green light Victor Martinez? And there's that danger of Jabba just throwing one down the middle. And he does swing at the 3-0 pitch. Gets the runner over to second for the first out. Now, do you bring in Marte or do you intentionally walk Ortiz and deal with Beltre?
It doesn't even look like Marte's throwing anymore. It just looks like David Robertson out there.
Which would lead you to believe that they're going to walk Ortiz. Marte threw an inning and 2/3 yesterday with 26 pitches. Maybe he tried to warm up and it just wasn't there.
And couldn't get loose.
We saw Cervelli go out there to talk to Jabba. He was saying, we got first base open. Let's be careful. It doesn't look like they're going to intentionally walk him. Maybe one of those at bats where you say, we're not going to give in. Don't throw the ball over the plate. If he wants to expand, fine. But always remember, we have first base open. You almost pitch him like it's an 0-2 count every pitch.
That one's in the dirt. And the count 2-0. Jabba doesn't have his best stuff tonight.
We'll see if they walk him. It's a slider down. You're behind 2-0. The right-handed hitting Beltre on deck.
Jabba's having trouble getting ahead on counts here.
The 2-0. There's a strike. Fastball on the outside corner. Okajima will pitch the bottom of the 8th inning. That one's low, and the count 3-1. Mike Lowell getting ready in the dugout. The 3-1. Grounded foul, so now the count 3-2. That's what David has done against Jabba. 4 for 17, one of the 4 home runs.
Jabba went to the breaking ball on 3-1. Does he go to it again on 3-2? That's one thing you have to think about when you're hitting.
And the 3-2. Driven deep to right field. Going back, Tim. Still back. Looking up. It's off the wall. That's going to tie the game. Ortiz is going for 2. Here's the play. He's out. But the game is tied at 5. So Ortiz singles off the wall and right. And they get him out at second, trying to stretch into a double. And the out is made at second, 8-6.
Looked like it was a 3-1 slider. He went with it 3-2, and David Ortiz thought he hit a home run, was not running out of the box, and he's going to get caught at second base, trying to stretch it into a double. Knows he got caught right there.
You know what? There should be a reprimand on this play as well. There's the tag. He's out easily. And he represents the go-ahead run. Getting thrown out, going to second.
It really is hard to believe if you think about it. And you can't absolve the Yankees because Alex does it sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't understand. People get burned so often. Why they stand there and look? I mean, you have time to style around the bases once the ball's over the wall.
Plus, you know, you've been in this game for how many innings here? 7 full innings now into the 8th. And you know the wind conditions are kind of iffy. They're not really helping anybody.
Very odd. Just doesn't make sense. The 1-1. There's a grounder to short. This will finally end the inning. So the error by A-Rod to start it off kind of snowballed into this. A single off the wall by David Ortiz. That scored Youkilis. The Red Sox score 4 in the inning, and they've tied it up at 5 as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
Blimpie has been a part of America's tradition for over 40 years. Our subs are made with fresh baked breads, quality meats and cheeses sliced to order. Taste the difference freshness makes. Blimpie, America's sub shop.
Backed by popular demand, Hyundai's Tint Event. It's bigger. Save on roomy sedans like the stylish Elantra or the all-new Sonata from America's most fuel-efficient car maker. It's better with America's best warranty and Hyundai Assurance. It's back. Special Tint Event savings like $159 a month to lease the Elantra. It's bigger. It's better. It's back. Our once-a-year tint event at your Hyundai dealer. Look for the tint. Lease the Elantra for $159 a month or get special financing plus bonus cash.
When your car becomes an old friend, no one cares for it like your local AMCO guys. Our technicians are experts, so if your air conditioning has lost its cool, bring your old friend into AMCO. People who know call AMCO. AA MCO.
This is unlike any car you've ever seen before. This is power with efficiency. This is an interior that exceeds even the promise of the exterior. This is the all-new Jaguar XJ, the stunning result of taking a very different road.
Every 2011 XJ comes with best-in-class platinum coverage, including a 550 warranty and complimentary scheduled maintenance.
Yankees baseball on My 9 is brought to you in part by Acura. Acura Advance. TD Bank, America's most convenient bank, and by your local Chrysler dealers. Well, now it's a new ball game. As strange as that sounds, the Yankees led this game 5-0, and now it's 5-5. And here is Hideki Okajima. So Beckett's off the hook, and you know what else? CC Sabathia does not get a decision despite a brave 7 innings in inclement weather, turning over a 5-1 lead to a bullpen that yesterday Joe Girardi so presciently called a mess. Jabba was not helped by the error by Alex Rodriguez, but it didn't have to snowball the way it did. Jeremy Hermida takes over in right. Maybe Drew hurt himself running the bases because Hermida is not a great defender. Drew is. And then you have Hideki Okajima pitching. Now you could have used Nick Swisher here if you wanted, because he can bat from the right side. Mariano Rivera getting ready. He'll pitch the 9th inning whether the Yankees score or not. Right in on the hands of Miranda. He fouls the bat. Juan Miranda 2 for 3 today. RBI single and a home run. This is on Drew's double.
When he got to second base, it looked like he was wincing a little bit. You could see a little limp. And he goes down to his knees, and it looked like he was in a little bit of pain.
The Red Sox, when they go into a season, they pretty much plan that Drew's going to play 135 to 140 games, and they figure that his body will not allow him to play 162. Swing and a miss, and Miranda foul tips it into the glove of Martinez for the first out. Daniel Bard begins to throw for the Red Sox.
You saw the numbers of Okajima when he came in. His ERA up over 5, and not having a year that he's had in the past. And every year his numbers have gotten just a hair worse than the year before. I'm not saying the league is completely caught up to him, but you know, he's been around for 3 or 4 years now.
The 1-0. Off-speed pitch. Wynn swings and misses.
Features that good changeup, a big 12-6 curveball, and a little different delivery. Head goes down. Not exactly how you draw it up. Teach kids to look where you want to throw the baseball. Okajima obviously doesn't do that.
Sometimes it works. Remember Fernando Valenzuela used to look up to the sky? Former great Dodger left-hander. Burst upon the scene, got everybody out for a couple of years.
Fernando Mania.
The 2-1. Count 3-1. And the pitch. Strike. 3-2. The start of the game was delayed by 59 minutes because of rain. Started a little after 8 o'clock. We're closing in on 11:30 on the East Coast, and we're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Swing and a miss. And he strikes out Wynn.
Good sequence of pitches for Okajima. Fastball in. Fastball's 87. Changeup in the low 80s and moving away. Some downward, down and away action. So fastball in, followed by this one. And he picks up a strikeout. Struck out 2 hitters in a row. Changeup has gotten the nickname over the years, the Okie Doke. And you can see how far out in front Randy Wynn was.
Here's Derek Jeter here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 2 outs. He's 0 for 3 with a walk. And a strike. The Yankees have never been that flummoxed by Okajima. In 27 games, he has a 5.11 ERA against the Yankees. And Jeter, 3 for 8 lifetime against Okajima. Count 1-1. Mariano's ready, not leaving too many in the bullpen. Now just a spectator until he comes in.
Okajima does enough inside with the fastball to make that changeup effective. 86, 87. If you're a right-handed batter, he makes you think about the inner half and drops that changeup away.
Dribbled slowly up the third baseline. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Yankees led 5-0. It's now 5-5. They had a 5-0 lead last night. They had a 6-1 lead last night. So 2 nights in a row they've blown 5-0 leads. The 2-2. And Derek Jeter's now 4 for 9 lifetime against Okajima.
And he also has a 6-game hitting streak, but he's had 1 hit in each and every one of those games. Kind of fights this one off, brings the elbow in. See the elbow tight to the ribs, so he has a better chance of getting the barrel of the bat to the ball, and kind of fights it off and drops it into center field for a base hit. It's hard to tell what that pitch was. What it Okajima's fastball, which is mid to high 80s.
Derek might take a chance here to try to steal a base. Has 4 stolen bases on the year, been thrown out once.
One thing that works against that, a little bit of a slow track. Infield's in good shape, but it's a little damper than usual. There has been a steady mist falling throughout the game. And you can see kind of clumpy out there. Along with Ken Singleton and John Flaherty, I'm Michael Kay, and you're watching Yankees baseball here on My 9. Thanks for staying up late with us. It's 5-5, bottom of the 8th inning at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. That's what we look like, and the game is knotted at 5 apiece. Count 2-0. Red Sox have allowed the most stolen bases this season. Giants and the Royals are next. Victor Martinez has only thrown out 4 attempted base runners this year, and 38 have been successful. And the count 3-0. You would assume that Gardner's taking all the way here. And he was. Laid a fastball right in there, 3-1.
He might be taken again. He's going to do his darndest to try and get Teixeira to the plate here.
Teixeira's 2 for 4 lifetime against Okajima. Remember, Bard is ready in the bullpen for the Red Sox. And Teixeira's 3 for 9 with 2 home runs against Bard. So Terry Francona would have to pick his poison. And Gardner works a walk. And that moves the go-ahead run to second base. And that's going to bring Terry Francona out of the dugout and Daniel Bard into the game. So the hard-throwing Bard, who pitched yesterday, is going to face Mark Teixeira with runners on first and second and 2 outs. The game is tied at 5. Stay right here.
Backed by popular demand, Hyundai's tent event. It's bigger. Save on roomy sedans like the stylish Elantra or the all-new Sonata from America's most fuel-efficient car maker. It's better with America's best warranty and Hyundai Assurance. It's back. Special tent event savings like $159 a month to lease the Elantra. It's bigger. It's better. It's back. Our once-a-year tent event at your Hyundai dealer. Look for the tent. Lease the Elantra for $159 a month or get special financing plus bonus cash.
New Jersey's teachers, firefighters, and police. They educate our children and keep us all safe. But Chris Christie's latest plan to limit local spending will make it harder for them to do their jobs. Christie's new proposal could cut funds for firefighters. It will make class sizes larger and cut programs for students. And it could force communities to lay off police, firefighters, and even more teachers. Call Governor Christie. Tell him to stop hurting the people our families rely on the most.
How do you define performance? Is it speed, power, or is it something more comprehensive? The Lexus GS 350 outperforms the European competition in not only horsepower, but also in powertrain warranty and 0 to 60 time. So for those of you considering a performance car, you may instead want to consider an outperformance car. See your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Lexus dealer.
And what does that all add up to? 5-5. Bottom of the 8th, and hard-throwing Daniel Bard on the mound, and he will face Mark Teixeira with the go-ahead run at second base. Those are the numbers on Bard. 26 strikeouts in 20 2/3 innings.
Okajima looked like he had it all going on, striking out Juan Miranda, Randy Wynn, base hit to Derek Jeter, and a walk to Brett Gardner. And now we have Daniel Bard, hard-throwing right-hander.
Three for 9 against Bard, and 2 of the hits, home runs. They don't need a home run right here. They'd like one, but a single probably gives the Yankees the lead. .96-mile-an-hour fastball low. High fly ball, right center. Hermida is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the 8th. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left. Hey, you know what? If the Yankees going to win this game, there's going to be a pie involved.
Hey, Parker, want to race home? Bet I can beat you there.
With its 43 safety features, like the Parkview rear backup camera,
Hi, sweetie. There you
electronic vehicle information center, and rear cross-path detection system, now available in the Safety Tech package, the Chrysler Town & Country is a safe bet to make.
Now get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a 2010 Chrysler Town & Country.
Dreams do come true when I'm serenaded by the one and only Kenny Rogers. Through the new season on the next Wendy.
Tomorrow at 10 on My 9.
I love rock and roll. I love rock and roll.
Now that looks good.
Achievement has its own patch of grass. Achievement unleashes hidden potential. Achievement looks forward to dinner at home. Achievement enjoys newfound freedom. Mortgages, home equity loans, and lines of credit from PNC, helping achievers borrow with an eye towards the future. PNC, for the achiever in us all.
What is performance? 0 to 60 or 60 to 0? How a car performs in a quarter mile or a quarter century? Is performance about the joy of driving or the importance of surviving? To us, performance is not about doing one thing well. It is about doing everything well. Because in the end, everything matters. Performance without compromise. That is what drives us.
Tonight after the game, former Yankee reliever Mike Stanton played 19 seasons with 8 different teams. Now he's sporting some new stripes. Tonight on the Verizon BIOS game wrap-up after the game on My 9 News. The gang at My 9 really staying up late tonight waiting for the news. Mariano Rivera comes on and tries to hold it at 5-5 and give the Yankees an opportunity in the bottom of the ninth. Rivera gave up his first blown save on Sunday, a bases loaded walk, and a grand slam. Here's Mike Lowell pinch hitting for Bill Hall. And a strike.
308 in his career against Mariano Rivera.
And that's what he's done so far this year in limited duty. He was platooning for a while with David Ortiz. Now, Mariano obviously was not pleased with giving up the grand slam to Jason Kubel on Sunday, but he was really beating himself up over the walk. Didn't blame the umpire. He said, I control the walk. I can't control if a guy hits the ball out, but I control whether I throw a ball or a strike, and he was very upset at himself about that.
And walking Jim Thome.
Yep.
Yeah. He threw a 1-0 pitch in that count that he didn't get the call. That was really close. Could have changed the whole at bat, made it 1-1 instead of 2-0, but Anytime you see Mariano walk somebody unusual.
Dribbled slowly toward third. Rodriguez makes the play and gets Lowell for the first out.
Nice play by A-Rod. He seemed to juggle it just a bit after he came up with the ball. Remember, he's guarding the line a little bit to prevent an extra base hit. So he has to go extra far to his left to come up with it. Here's a little juggle right there. Stays with it, gets the grip, and throws out low by about a step and a half. Reaches, gathers, and makes the accurate throw for the play.
Now, if you're thinking ahead to the bottom of the ninth, Alex Rodriguez will lead off for the Yankees. Here's Darnell McDonald, and he fouls that bat.
That last at by Teixeira, he just got underneath that one, and it had a good sound coming off the bat, but it went almost straight up the silo.
There's a strike. Missed outside. On deck for the Red Sox, Marco Scudero, who has hurt Mariano in the past. Actually had a walk-off home run against Mo when Scudero was with the Oakland Athletics. 1-2. Did he go? No, he did not, said Jeff Nelson.
What about the pitch? Like a pretty good pitch there. Cervelli setting up inside. Oof.
Wow. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Darnell McDonald. Missed outside. Count is full. Tomahawks that way up in the air and fouled down the left field line. Scudero on deck. And that one is lined into center field, a base hit for McDonald. So he takes advantage of that close 2-strike pitch. So McDonald on with the potential go-ahead run. Let's take a look at that Scudero walk-off against Mo. April 15th of 2007.
That was on an 0-2 pitch. And Scudero celebrating.
Now a couple teams later, here's Scudero with the Red Sox. Pitch outside. Mo does not seem as if he has the command that he's had in the past. He's not as razor sharp as he usually is.
He missed a lot of time with that side injury. It looks like he's working awfully fast tonight too. His rhythm picked up the pace a little bit.
Popped up, shallow right. Cano goes out, and the ball is dropped by Timms. As McDonald moves to second, you could almost see that developing. And that's going to be an E9 on Marcus Timms.
Popped up, and you can see the disgust of Scudero, and it appears that he called it, but then has to go to the basket catch, hits the glove, falls away, and the Red Sox have runners at first and second. McDonald could only advance 90 feet, and 1 out. Outfielder has the better shot here because he's coming in on the ball. And Timms, it appeared that he called for it. If you called for it, you better make the catch.
Now here's the pesky Dustin Pedroia, and on deck is Jeremy Hermida, not J.D. Drew. Remember, Drew left in the 8th inning. Pedroia chases a fastball upstairs.
Pedroia 0 for 9 in his career against Mariano Rivera. Pedroia had a good at bat against Jabba Chamberlain, slapping a slider the other way in that 8th inning.
Count 0-2. It was Pedroia yesterday who brought up the name of Mariano Rivera after Papelbon had blown the save. And he said, if the guy in the other clubhouse, who's the greatest closer of all time, he could blow a save on Sunday, it could happen to Jonathan Papelbon, who's up again for the Red Sox. So Pedroia facing the guy he calls the best closer in baseball history, and many people would agree. The 0-2. Dribbled slowly toward first. Teixeira will step on the bag as the runners move up and there are 2 outs. And the Yankees are awfully happy they're not facing J.D. Drew right now.
Yeah, they wouldn't be, because you might, although Mariano doesn't walk many guys intentionally, well, you got Youkilis up next. What do you do?
Yeah, that's some poison to pick. Well, Hermida is certainly not an automatic out.
I think you have to go with the numbers if that was the case.
So the count 1-0 to Jeremy Hermida. There's a strike. Backdoor cutter. Hermida's only faced Mo once and didn't get a hit, so he's 0 for 1. Count 1-2. Just missed. Where was that one? Guess it was a little high.
Cervelli setting up away, tried to bring it back to the outside corner. Again, does not get the call.
That one is fouled back.
It appears that Mariano's alternating corners, in, out, trying to stay one step ahead of Hermida.
Two. Served into deep left, backing up his win, still back. It's over his head. That'll score 2 runs. Hermida's on second with a 2-run double, and the Red Sox take a 7-5 lead. Randy Winn was playing very, very shallow and had no chance to make that play.
Hermida's a guy that we've seen has a little bit of pop in his bat. Again, Cervelli going away. Hermida stays on it. And you're right, Randy Winn playing very shallow. He goes into retreat mode right away. He's not going to have a play over his head. So the error by Marcus Timms proves costly.
Here's Youkilis. Mariano watching up the bat, and he realizes that it's over the head, and Timms is rooting this into the glove of Winn in the worst way. And he thought it was going to be caught. Jogging into the dugout. Now he knows how important his error was. This is a very, very sloppy game by the Yankees, and this would be a very tough game for them to lose. Alex Rodriguez with a costly error in the 8th inning that opened the floodgates for 4 runs. Marcus Timms with the big drop of the pop-up here in the 9th inning, allowing at least 2 runs to score. And the Yankees have just completely given away a 5-0 lead for the 2nd game in a row. So now Papelbon will get a second chance to try to close out the Yankees. And one more time, I'll have a 2-run lead. Or it could be more if Youkilis gets a hit here. There's a strike, count 2-2. You know, Papelbon's going to be pumped, try to make up for last night. And he's going to face 4, 5, and 6 in the Yankee order.
The only difference is Alex Rodriguez won't represent the tying run when he comes up.
Count 3-2. Not that it matters to the Yankees or Rivera, but the runs are unearned this inning. 3-2. That one's driven out to left center. Gardner is there, and he's going to make the play for the final out of the top of the ninth. But Mo allows 2 runs on 2 hits and 1 big error with 1 man left. And here is the drop pop-up off the bat of Marco Scutaro, and that was very, very costly. Ended up costing 2.
The Cadillac CTS Sports Sedan. Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer or CadillacTriState.com for this attractive offer.
Can a smartphone push you to your limits? Can it keep track of your mileage, running times, even you? Informing your friends of how much of your dust they're eating. Droid can with RunStar, one of thousands of apps that run simultaneously with others, only from the ever-expanding Android market. When there's no limit to what Droid gets, there's no limit to what Droid does.
Right now, buy one Droid by Motorola and get a second one free. Only from Verizon.
The 2009 New York Yankees are world champions.
Yankees fans, full season and partial season ticket plans and great locations are now available. Many plans also include postseason ticket options and great seats at games versus the Red Sox, Mets, and Phillies, plus Old Timers Day. For more information, visit Yankees.com, call 718-293-6000, or email seasontickets@Yankees.com. In 2010, come home to Yankee Stadium, the home of champions.
A car driver's 10 best. And Edmunds' editor's most wanted. But most impressive, ALG's highest projected resale value.
The wicked fun, wallet smart Mazda 3.
It's, that way. I know.
Lisa 2010 Mazda 3i Sport 4-door for $189 a month for 42 months with 0 due at lease signing. Hurry, offer ends soon. Zoom Zoom. Today, tomorrow, forever.
So Mariano Rivera gives up 2 unearned runs. After the inning was over, Randy Wynn went into the dugout and he was greeted by Rob Thompson, the third base coach, who also positions the outfielders, and they look like they're talking over what happened out there. Why was Wynn that shallow? Doesn't seem to be a scolding sort of conversation, but obviously some message being put across. And Marcus Timms might get a chance to atone for the E9. If somebody gets on, he would come up as the tying run. So last night, the hero, could he be the GOAT tonight? Jonathan Papelbon, the GOAT from last night, will try to close this. Jonathan Van Every takes over in center field. And Papelbon will face A-Rod, Cano, and Cervelli. And there's Van Every. And there's Alex. Rodriguez 2 for 3 with a walk. Alex with the big home run last night that tied the game.
First pitch that he saw with a man aboard, and this is headed for the Red Sox bullpen. And it made it a 9-9 game at the time.
Looked like Papelbon yesterday was a little short on the fastball. Didn't have that late life, didn't have as much velocity as he usually has. Now, you wouldn't think that he'd get it tonight back. I asked Terry Francona, did he lose that velocity because of the 2 1/3 innings he pitched on Saturday? He said, He only threw 23 pitches. He said he's thrown much more than that. He said, but we did get him up a couple of times, and that sometimes hurts.
I think that's the whole thing. You get up and down a few times, which a closer is not used to doing, usually coming out for one inning, or maybe you get 4 or 5 outs and you'll get up one time.
The 2-0. There's a strike.
The thing I noticed about his very first pitch to Brett Gardner was 88 miles an hour. And I said, well, maybe he just didn't have the proper grip on the ball, and then he dialed it up. He only had one really good one. It was 96 to Teixeira.
Teixeira, yep.
Yankees need a base runner. The 2-1. There's a grounder, and under the glove of Scudero. So they have a base runner. And that's an E6 on Scudero. And that's his second error. And his error in the second inning allowed 2 unearned runs to score.
We talked about it, a lot of talk about pitching and defense in Boston this year, and Scudero has had a tough game. He's going to go to the backhand. It just doesn't keep the glove down, goes right underneath it. He can't believe it, and the Yankees have a base runner here in the 9th.
That's going to bring up Cano. Cano with a 2-run double in the 5th inning. He is 1 for 4. Also reached on that Scudero error in the 2nd. That should have been a double play, and Scudero just dropped the ball. Alex is going to go for 2nd. He'll make it easily, so that erases an easy force or a double play. So now they know they're going to get at least 3 tries to try to tie it up. And that pitch was way high to Cano.
And again, it looks like Papelbon doesn't have that mid-90s fastball. That went 92 to Robinson Cano. So pretty much an average velocity fastball wise, and missing badly.
If that's the case, if he doesn't have the blow-by fastball, he's really going to have to hit corners.
And he didn't use the splitter that much last night. I think he threw just 1.
Yeah, I think if you're Victor Martinez and you notice the velocity not there, go to the split a little bit more. And if you can get ahead in the count, you can try to sneak the fastball by some hitters.
The 1-0 outside, and that was the split. The last time Papelbon allowed runs in back-to-back appearances, May 23rd and 25th of last season. The 2-0. There's a strike. That's pretty much his fastball the last 2 nights. He threw 1 Papelbonian fastball yesterday, and that was to Mark Teixeira. 96 miles an hour right under the hands, but otherwise 91, 92. He's at a 94 today. Marcus Thames might get a chance to atone unless there's a weird, wacky double play. The 2-1. Sliced inside third and down the left field line. That will score Alex Rodriguez, and Cano's on 2nd with the tying run. Red Sox lead 7-6.
Take a look at the sequence of pitches to Robinson Cano. Fastball up and away, ball 1. There's 2 balls and a strike, and trying to stay away. A fastball moving away, and Cano goes with it and rips it down the third base line for a 2-base hit.
So John Farrell will try to massage Papelbon through this.
I'm sure they're talking a little strategy right now. They don't know if Cervelli's going to bunt or not. He's been such a good hitter with runners in scoring position. Nobody out here in the 9th. I'm sure they're talking about all the possibilities.
And Marcus Thames on deck. All right, it's 12 o'clock straight up, the witching hour. Weird things happen. Let's go over this, guys. Before it happens, would you have him bunt?
I would.
I would say the same thing. I would have him bunt. You know, the other thing you think about, he's been one of your best hitters with runners in scoring position. You got the bottom of the lineup. Thames, Miranda, Wynn. Miranda's had a nice game. Thames hit the home run last night.
Plus, Cervelli's an excellent bunter. He's got 3 sacrifice bunts this year.
Well, you want to bunt to third, make Beltre field it, and then you get Cano over to third easily. And he's squaring. He's not trying to hide it. And the snap throw to second. Not in time. Almost got him. Very close. Cano getting that big secondary lead, almost got caught sleeping.
Yeah, it can't be this close. I mean, Robinson Cano gets away with one here. Look at Scutaro gets the ball up in front of second base. If he actually waits on the bag, he probably has Robinson Cano. He has to reach back for the tag. And Robinson is safe, but he gets away with one there. That's too close.
You know what happens as a base runner, you see the ball, looks like it's in the strike zone. You think the hitter's going to actually bunt it. And Cervelli took it for a strike.
Here's the 0-1. Pitch up and away. And by the time the ball is in the bunting area for Cervelli, Youkilis is maybe 10 feet away from home plate. So the Yankees might be seeing this and say, let the guy swing. They might change their mind. We'll see. It was a long look down at Rob Thompson.
See, the whole idea is get the bunt here, as you said, Michael, and make Beltre come in and make the play. That'll take Youkilis out of the play altogether.
Now he's not showing, but now he is. And he bunts. It is a beauty. Cano will go to third. The out is made at first. The sacrifice is successful. You score at 5-4, and the tying run is 90 feet away for Marcus Thames.
That is the fourth successful sacrifice bunt for Cervelli this year. He leads the Yankees in that category. When a manager asks you to get the job done, or when you're a backup player, these are the things, the little things you got to do to help the ball club when called upon. And he gets the job done nicely.
About 25 hours ago, Marcus Thames came up and was the hero. He hit the 2-run home run off of Jonathan Papelbon. So he was the hero last night. Tonight, he helped the Red Sox get a couple of runs with this booted ball in the ninth inning. Red Sox have the infield in. Papelbon against Thames, who likes the fastball, the pitch. Fastball is inside. Now, if you go to the splitter here and you bounce it, that can allow Cano to score. That's why it's important that he's at third.
If you're Thames, you're just looking for something you can drive, get a decent fly ball to the outfield. It'd be nice to get a hit, but certainly look for something situational hitting it.
Count 1-1.
Looked like a split in on his hands. First pitch fastball was inside also, trying to tie Marcus Thames up. Not trying to let him get extended, and he swings right over the top.
Juan Miranda is on deck. A long night here in the Bronx. The 1-1.
Look out.
And Marcus Thames looks out at Papelbon very quickly and then collects himself. Papelbon would have no intention of hitting Thames here.
No, you're trying to tie him up inside, and Marcus didn't like that it was up and in, but this is a competitor in a big at bat. You don't like it when it's up and in. Two guys getting after it here.
Well, all three pitches have been inside. So if you're Marcus Thames, you can see right away what they're trying to do.
Now, that was not at his head. That was an overreaction by Thames, but the ball thrown so hard, but that was up around the letters. The 2-1. Swung on and foul tipped. Another splitter, and the count 2-2. Well, Papelbon knows that Thames turned the fastball around last night, so he's mixing it up just a bit. It is Wednesday morning in the Bronx. The tying runs at third base, bottom of the ninth inning. Red Sox lead 7-6. One man out. Thames at the plate, 2-2 count. Papelbon deals. 3-2.
That was supposed to be the put-away pitch. Trying to go for the outside corner. Sneak one over the corner. He hadn't been out there that whole at bat.
Wouldn't be surprised to see a 3-2 split here.
Yeah.
Three-two. He walked him. Little bit low. And that passes the baton to the kid, Juan Miranda.
Take a look at the pitch by pitch to Marcus Timms. The hole at bat, they're trying to go inside early. Fastball in, split finger inside. Fastball up and in. Marcus doesn't like it. Split down and in. Tried to freeze him away, misses. Another freeze pitch away, just a little bit down.
Now here's Miranda, and running for Timms is going to be Ramiro Pena, which leads you to think, would they let him take off for second? And if he does, do the Red Sox throw through? Because they should throw through, because that would be the winning run. But if they throw through, that could release Cano at third. So a lot of things going on here between the two managers. Pena is at first, Cano's at third, and Miranda, who already has a home run today and an RBI single, he's at the plate.
Let's see how the Red Sox are setting up defensively here. In the infield, they're just about halfway. So if Pena does take off, then you'll see the infield come in.
There's a strike.
Let's go all the way back to opening night. The Yankees pulled off a double steal. Great speed on the bases. Jeter takes off, holds up, and Gardner scores easily from third base. Another look. Scudero handles it. Didn't even have a chance to make a throw back to home. Well executed by the Yankees.
There's a splitter low. Count 1-1. Miranda has always had good power. He's always impressed the Yankees in spring training, but it's always been a numbers game where he couldn't make the team, but he got called up with all of the injuries.
If you're Papelbon, you probably see a combination fastballs up and into Miranda, splits down and away. You could jam him with a fastball, he might pop it up. If you throw splits down and away, possibility of a ground ball.
Keeping Pena close. Papelbon had converted 22 straight saves before last night. The last thing he wants to do is blow 2 in a row to the Yankees. The runner goes. Pitch is swung on and grounded right back to Papelbon. He's going to make the out at first, and the Yankees are down to their final outs. Miranda hit it right up the middle. I think Pena had the base stolen, even if they threw through.
Split down and away. Nice play by Papelbon. Checks everybody. Throws the first for the easy out. You see Pena gets a good jump. I think he would have been successful. It didn't look like there would have been a play at second.
Well, now it comes down to Randy Wynn. 2 outs. The tying run's at third. The winning run is at second. Randy Wynn facing Papelbon for the first time. Pitch is high. Remember, Derek Jeter is on deck. Win tonight, 0 for 3. Drove in a run with a ground ball in the second. Struck out in the fourth. Walked in the sixth. Struck out in the eighth. Yankees led this one 5-0. Trailing now 7-6. Swing and a miss.
Fastball right by him, pretty much middle of the plate. Randy might have to prove he can hit the fastball in this at bat after seeing that swing.
This will be the 23rd pitch for Papelbon. Runners lead. Got that fastball up to 94. So reaching back for a little something extra in the count 2-1.
Papelbon's pretty good at recognizing swings and seeing that Randy was late on that first fastball. Probably a good idea to stick with it.
And now the Yankees are down to their final strike. Marcus Thames probably wants a hit more than anybody else in this ballpark. After dropping that pop up and right. Cano leads off third. Tying run 90 feet away. Pena off second. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs on Randy Winn. Papelbon sets. And the count is full. And the captain is on deck. And the 3-2 popped him up, but that's going to make the seats out of play just over the Red Sox dugout.
Once again, trying to keep the ball in on Randy Winn. Just a matter of being quick on a pitch on the inner half. Red Sox outfield playing fairly shallow. They want to have a chance to at least throw out Pena on a base hit.
They have really shortened up. Whatever's left of the crowd, they're all on their feet. And the 3-2 stays alive.
Best swing of the at bat right there for Randy Winn. Ball was down a little bit, fastball. Take another look. Martinez setting up middle down.
Nick Swisher trying to swing the bat. But after Winn, they're not pitch hitting for Jeter. And the 3-2. He struck him out. And the ball game is over. And the Yankees lose a tough one, 7-6. So Randy Winn battled the count full. And as you said, John, he had to prove he could hit a fastball, and he couldn't get around on that one.
Yeah, I think once Papelbon saw the first swing from Randy Winn, a fastball right by him, he just said, you know what, this plays to my strengths. And went inside and then finally went outside with a fastball. Randy just pulls off just a little bit too quick. The Yankees lose a tough one.
Yankees in the ninth, 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 men left. And Papelbon, a night after blowing a save, nails this one down. And the Red Sox come back from a 5-0 deficit to win this game 7-6. We've got some awards to give out, so you got to stick around. The Yankees and the Red Sox split a 2-game series here in the Bronx. We'll be back on My 9 in a moment.
No matter where you buy your gas, it can be a painful experience or a delightfully rare occurrence. It's all in the choice of car you drive. Honda, a fuel economy leader for the last 30 years.
Look for money-saving leases and low financing at your Honda dealer or go to shophonda.com.
The 2009 New York Yankees are